seats, and thus tonight we have a chance to see more than 60,000. That used to be what would be the open end or the scoreboard end of the Astrodome. They had the big scoreboard out there with the snorting bull and all of the neon, and it's now full of seats as we get set for the start of this one and the end of week 10 in the National Football League, with Tony Zendejas kicking off. Ira Hillary and Kendall Smith back to receive for Cincinnati. And the kick comes down to the goal line, and Ira Hillary, who brings it out past the 20 and to the 29-yard line, and Cincinnati will begin from there. Last week, Boomer Esiason injured. He was sacked. He stayed in for another series, coughed up blood, finally came out, but didn't miss any practice time, as we stated. So he's in there. They have Brooks, but Eric Ball is hurt, so Stanford Jennings starts at fullback. McGee and Brown are the wideouts. Coleman is their leading receiver. And up front, a great offensive line. Munoz, Reimers, Kozerski, Montoya, and Joe Walter bouncing back from an injury last year and surgery. First and 10, Cincinnati from the 29-yard line. Brown in motion. And Esiason looks the other way and goes to McGee, and he gets popped right away by Patrick Allen, number 29. The opposition has been working on Allen a lot this year. He has been under some fire here, as the Houston corners in particular have been susceptible. Childress leads the team in sacks, then Smith and Bird. And the four linebackers, Lyles, Grimsley, Al Smith, and Johnny Meads. And then the cornerbacks having their problems, Brown and Allen, with Bubba McDowell, the rookie strong safety, and Jeff Donaldson, the free safety. 2nd and 4 from the 35-yard line. Brown in motion, and on the ground, it's Stanford Jennings picking up 2, setting up a 3rd and 2, and as usual, several Oilers in on the tackle, led by John Grimsley and also Johnny Meads.
And there we go. It didn't take long. We've only run 2 plays, and already our first confrontation, and certainly nothing that we promote or advocate, but we can't stress enough that we've been spending time with both of these ball clubs, and the feelings run deep, and they are not nice feelings. These are 2 teams. I think one, Houston, with something to prove in this stadium. They feel that they really do have an advantage with the House of Pain, and clearly for Cincinnati, it's nothing more than they're going to try to prove that they cannot and will not be intimidated.
Well, it's openly hostile, as I said earlier, and there is strong feeling. I wouldn't be surprised if the first few minutes is going to be very ugly tonight.
3rd down and 2, and look at this set for the Bengals with 3 receivers set to the right, at least for the moment, though one of them could come in motion.
You can always count on Sam.
And Hillary starts in motion, but then they keep it on the ground, and they do trick the Oilers here as Brooks picks up a 1st down and a lot more. Richard Johnson makes the tackle at midfield.
That had to cause a little bit of confusion, and again another fight breaks out, a little scuffle downfield, but we're going to see a lot of that. But that had to cause just a little bit of confusion with that strange alignment, if nothing else, hesitation on the part of the defense.
Take a look at the 3 wide receivers here at the top. What have we done? We've isolated one lone Oiler here to try to contain this play. Everything else is pinned back to the inside. And just take a look at that hole. So much confusion created by the 3 wide receivers. Sam Weiss, clearly the game's #1 innovator offensively, but let's get the call from referee Dick Hantek.
Personal foul, defense, personal foul, offense. Penalties are all set. 1st down.
And I think what we're seeing is a quick intervention by the referees in attempting to keep this game under control. They give the officials credit. They have a feel for what's going on down on the field. They read newspapers, they watch television, they listen to the radio, they know what's going on, and I think Dick has talked to his group, and they're going to be on this one hard and heavy early.
So Cincinnati at the 50-yard line, picking up the game's initial 1st down. Boomer Esiason, remember last year, some question about his shoulder. He strengthened it during the offseason, then he injured his ankle, missed the start at Kansas City, and then missed most of last week's game. In there tonight, and also in there tonight in the backfield is Sean Jones jumping across, number 96.
Jones early on trying to read the count of Boomer Esiason. You saw him come across
defense, number 96, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
He knew he had missed it. He clenched his fist, shook his head, but he guessed with it, and he missed it.
Part of the reason that he's trying to jump too, Frank, is he's working against Anthony Munoz, clearly the best offensive tackle in the game of football right now. And take a look at the Oilers there, the most penalized team in the NFL, so it's nothing new. 2 penalties already, even though one of them was offsetting. But Sean Jones is going to try to get off quick on Munoz. It's the only way you can have a prayer of beating the guy.
2nd and 5 from the 45-yard line. That's Jennings is the sole running back in this set. And on 1st and 5, Esiason with a lot of time, and he hits Jennings, and Jennings in turn gets hit. And there we go again with Robert Lyles, number 93.
Lyles really the leader of this defense, a martial arts student in the offseason, and perhaps the man who fires him up more than anyone else along with Childress, but he has a lot to say, a lot of conversation, as this entire Oiler team does.
Was it the Village People that had the song Macho Macho Man? We might start playing that here. Outstanding work that time by Robert Lyles. Excellent outside linebacker and a rather aggressive chap.
2nd and 2. Cincinnati at the Houston 42 on the game's opening drive. This is Brooks, gets a block, cuts inside of Jennings, and Brooks is inside the 30 down to the 23-yard line. So Brooks having to leave last week's game against the Raiders with contused ribs, but saw a lot of practice time this week. Sam White said he was 100%. He got a great block from Jennings and another big first down.
Great cutback on the part of Brooks, and as small as he is, he only goes about 180 or 185 pounds. Now watch him. Follows Jennings' block. Now he'll break it back to the inside. Now he'll break it back to the inside again. And for a small back, that's rather chancy, but it's a great way to break the big play because you're using their speed against them, and he gets good yardage in the first down.
Brooks has carried twice for 30 yards, and here is Jennings, who picks up 4. He takes it to the 21. Johnny Needs is at the bottom of the pile, and you saw Jeff Donaldson come flying in as well. No flag.
Get used to that. Robert Lyles gets a lot of the publicity for being the leader of the Houston defense, but Jeff Donaldson will come right out and say, hey, I think I get a little of the credit too. I'm every bit as wild and aggressive as he is. And I've never understood, though, the defensive mentality here, though, of taking delight in coming up and hitting your own players in the back. Only linebackers and defensive backs take delight in doing that. I could never understand that.
Donaldson, as you saw, 4 of his 9 career interceptions against Cincinnati. He does not have an interception this season against anybody. 2nd and 6. Bengals from the 21-yard line. Here's Jennings. He was looking to throw and hacks it in and takes the loss as he's knocked down after a 2-yard loss to the 24-yard line. Al Smith leading the charge, number 54, and William Fuller as well.
Pair of tight ends in for the Bengals, and you're right, Jennings came out to the right, took a quick look downfield looking for Tim McGee, who, by the way, was well covered downfield, and Jennings had nothing else to do but pull it down and try to make some yardage out of it.
3rd down, 9. Cincinnati at the 24-yard line.
What's interesting here, Alan Frank, is Cincinnati went back and huddled and allowed Houston to go ahead and make substitutions.
Bengals with 4 wideouts. Brooks stays in the block. Esiason in trouble, and down he goes at the 38-yard line.
Oh, and what that did was take the Bengals out of a potential field goal range.
And to me, that looked like a very late hit, and there's no flag, and Krzyzewski goes wild.
This isn't college football. You can get back up and go. Boomer Esiason fell down, and he could have gotten back up and thrown the pass, so he's still a live target. You can't come up and spear him with your hat. You can't come in and spear him with a helmet, but this is a legal blow. I know it doesn't look so good, but that's a shoulder, and Boomer Esiason is a live target.
Again, the Bengals taken out of field goal range.
I hear what you're saying, Al, and if it would have been the helmet, you're right. It's a penalty all the way.
I stand corrected. It wasn't a late hit, but there was a question as to whether or not he came in and speared him.
It was close.
Johnson, his kick doesn't die before it crosses the goal line, so back it comes now to the 20, and that's where Landville's Houston Oilers begin their first possession of the evening. Oilers begin this drive at the 20-yard line. Warren Moon having probably his best season in his 6th year with Houston. He spent 6 years at Edmonton in the Canadian League out of the University of Washington. And with him, Rozier and Highsmith start. We'll see Pinkett later. Hill and Givens are the wideouts. Morosco is the rookie tight end, a 9th-round pick. Davis, Munchak, Yarno starts for Pennison, who had arthroscopic knee surgery. Matthews and Steinkühler, a great offensive line for Houston. The 2 guards could be as good a pair of guards as you'll find in the league.
I think they are. They're the best tandem in the league. Matthews, Munchak, both #1 draft choices.
So the Oilers from the 20-yard line. 8:35 to play in the first quarter at the Astrodome. And they begin on the ground with Rozier picking up 3. Rozier was a holdout this year, and we've got another scuffle, and now we've got all kinds of flags.
Bruce Matthews and Joe Kelly, Al, I think, are the combatants here.
Well, the deal is if they're going to continue to call offsetting personal fouls, that's not going to stop them. Somebody's got to be ejected, or something's got to happen.
I don't think that will
skirmish
continue.
already.
Personal foul, defense, personal foul, offense, penalties are all set.
But what
Second down.
what does that mean in the long run?
Well, I think they're hoping things will quiet down, and chances are they won't. I think the man on the right couldn't care less about it. Ben and I talked about it. He's like a special teams coach. I mean, he motivates us. He likes it. He says the Bengals are they like tricks. So that's for Halloween. We like to go out and hit people, knock them down. And that's what he feels. He doesn't mind what his players do. And consequently, they are the most penalized team in the league.
Alan Pinkett is already in the game, and they send him out to the right as a receiver. He's at the bottom of the screen, number 20. From the 22-yard line, Moon on 2nd and 7 throws for a first down to Drew Hill out at the 33-yard line. He caught 9 last week against Detroit. The tackle is made by Lewis Phillips.
That was a fine catch, but look at Warren. He just snaps that off his wrist. That is a beautiful pass. And I don't know how to say it. Now in his, 12th year of pro football, 6th with Houston. If anything, he is so much better than he's been. First of all, he's been injury-free. He's passing at about 63%. But that was a beautifully thrown ball. He can just whip it like a rocket.
Hill's 41st catch of the season. Their 2 wideouts are their leading receivers. Meanwhile, the Bengals tight end Rodney Holman is Cincinnati's leading receiver from the 33-yard line. Moon throws, and it's nearly intercepted as it goes through the hands of Ernest Gibbons and is almost picked off by Eric Thomas.
And boy, does Gibbons take a shot to the midsection. Ernest Gibbons showing some real fortitude in getting up from that one. Ricky Dixon, the Bengal free safety, had a wide open target. I think we'll get a good look at it here. Watch Dixon at the bottom of your screen. Comes in and hits Gibbons right on the thigh. Was up more towards the hip rather than the midsection.
Speaking of #1 draft picks, there's one who has really come on.
Second down and 10. And Warren Moon calls a timeout.
He was down to 5 seconds on the 30-second clock, and he knew he was not going to get the play off. So Warren Moon, very wisely, 2nd and 10, saves the penalty and uses the timeout.
Reason for the timeout: 2 wide receivers, 6 guys up front. This makes 10. Watch Highsmith walk up to Warren Moon and tell him, hey Warren, I think we're supposed to have 2 backs in here, and we only got 1. I think maybe it'd be wise to take a timeout, and that's exactly what the Oilers did.
And so as play resumes at 2nd and 10, Houston from the 33, no score halfway through the first quarter. And it's Rozier following Highsmith, and he can't get to the outside, and he is wrapped up. Fulcher finished him off after White started it. And we'll take a look at that Cincinnati defense, and there's a man having a real good year at outside linebacker Leon White. Normally for Cincinnati, 3-man front, Scow. Tim Crumry coming back from that broken leg in the Super Bowl, playing at about 75% effectiveness in Buck. Then you've got White, Zander, Joe Kelly, and Councilman Reggie Williams on the outside, with Phillips and Thomas at the corners, and Fulcher and Dixon the safeties.
Bengals bring in their nickel defense and the 4 wide receiver of the Oilers offense that has been so effective.
3rd down and 9. From the 33-yard line, Moon out of the shotgun. Moon under pressure. And Moon escaping to the 40. He has a 1st down, and he takes it to the 49 of Cincinnati. Nearly cracked for a sack. He escapes, and Barney Bussey finally makes the tackle after an 18-yard pickup. Moon is the chance.
Keep in mind when you watch this replay is that the rule is the grasp and control. There's Jason Buck coming in from the backside, and there is no control. There might be a hand down around an ankle and a foot, but certainly no control. And wisely the official lets it go, and Warren Moon shows the kind of ability he's always had to make a big play.
And the Bengals again having trouble making a sack. Cincinnati with only 2 sacks in their last 4 games. Houston 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line. And the clock was down to 0. The play clock was down to 0. And Hansack will tell us.
Offense, number 1, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Delay of game.
We talked to Jerry Glanville last night, and what's he tell us? He said, watch, we'll take 2 delay of game penalties tomorrow, and don't be surprised if Cincinnati does the exact same thing. We may audible as much as 80% of the time during the course of a game because we won't run a bad play. We won't run a play into the wrong defense. And he says, I'm prepared to pay the price. And if it means I'll take a delay of game twice, I'll do it because I want to run at the soft part of the defense.
1st and 15. Oilers operating from their own 46.
There's Moon audibilizing right there.
3 receivers set to the right. Moon protected well, fires one over the middle, and the catch is made by Drew Hill at the 48-yard line. Warren Moon finding Drew Hill, a man he's been around so long, you tend to forget he was a Ram in 1979 and played in the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers that season.
Again, just a snap of the wrist with Warren Moon. He almost throws it off the back foot. Little or no follow through, but he gets tremendous velocity on it. And Dan touched on something earlier. Drew Hill, with the exception of Jerry Rice, has more yardage in the National Football League since 1985 than anyone but Rice, and that's remarkable.
I wish that ball was as easy to catch as our cameramen make it look like. They slow it down. That thing looks like you couldn't drop it if you tried.
That was humming.
2nd and 8 from the 48-yard line. Moon going deep, and it's incomplete, intended for Haywood Jeffries. The pass underthrown, and back there covering was Ricky Dixon.
This is the matchup they wanted all night defensively for Cincinnati. Sam White said, we want to get Dixon on Jeffries no matter where he is. Dixon good single coverage man, even though he plays that safety position. He had good position, but Warren just underthrew the football. He had a bit of a lead on Ricky Dixon, but so far defensively Sam White is getting what he wants on that 4 wide receiver offense of the Oilers.
3rd and 8. Houston, Moon in the shotgun. No score. 4:12 to play, 1st quarter. Hill in motion to the same side as Gibbons. Moon goes deep again, and this time it's dropped by Jeffries, who had it in his hands and couldn't hold on.
I don't know that a quarterback under pressure on a blitz, taking a hit the second that he releases the ball, Barney Bussey was coming on the blitz, could throw it any better than Warren Moon threw the ball that time, delivering it right to the palms of Jeffries' hands. Watch the pressure coming from the right of your screen. There's Bussey hitting Moon off his back foot, and the ball drops in absolutely perfectly.
Jeffries, who made a spectacular catch a few weeks ago against the Bears. That one, so simple, just didn't have the concentration. He drops what could have been a touchdown.
Greg Montgomery's punt is fair caught by Kendall Smith at the 11. A 36-yard kick, and we take another look at the drop by Jeffries.
There it is. That one you just have to look in all the way. Good receiver, just lost the concentration for a moment and blew the touchdown.
What sort of a game has it been? Well, here it is in microcosm.
This was the play that Sam White told us he would open the ball game with, going against Patrick Allen. Patrick Allen performing rather well.
And Robert Lyles, he gets his turn as he comes in and levels Stanford Jennings. Ray Childress comes in and puts the big whammy on Boomer Esiason when he's on the ground, and now it's Ricky Dixon's turn. Keep in mind, we've only played 11 minutes of football so far.
And no score in the Astrodome. Cincinnati with its second possession. Brown comes in motion. And Esiason sacked at the 4-yard line from behind by Ray Childress. And for Ray Childress, that's 8 sacks this season.
This is what the Oilers have not been doing defensively, is getting the sack. They had only 17 coming into the night. Childress coming from the outside and getting around Joe Walter, beats Walter around, and they were in a zone defense that time. And Esiason, I think, was a little confused. I think he thought he'd see man-to-man and just got stuck with the football back there.
Well, he really didn't have a choice. He's looking downfield, good coverage, but that's Ray Childress working against Joe Walter. Now, Joe Walter had knee surgery after the final regular season game last year, and he's only about 3/4 of the way back. That's a real mismatch.
2nd and 16. Jennings looks for some room, finds none. He's thrown down at the 4 by Sean Jones.
I want to go back to that mismatch I'm talking about. Joe Walter was one of the great pass-protecting tackles in the game, and he's the right tackle, which means he's working to Boomer Esiason's blind side to the backside. But make no mistake about it, Walter, who's only been back in the lineup now for several weeks, is not back to full strength, and his battle tonight with Ray Childress is critical to the Bengals.
3rd and 16. 2:45 to go in the quarter. 3 receivers to the right. And the handoff goes to Brooks, and he can only get it out to the 7-yard line. At least that will give Lee Johnson a little extra room.
We saw that same play work big for the Bengals in their first series. That time, quick adjustment by the Oilers with the 3 wides to the right. Oilers adjusting very quickly. Brooks tried to break it back to the outside, and he is hammered and far short of first down yardage.
Glenn Montgomery coming up with the big play.
Lee Johnson stands in the end zone. Johnson is a former Oiler, and that's Kenny Johnson back at midfield, ready to accept the punt. A flag goes down at the snap. And the play was whistled dead. The play is dead, even though Kenny Johnson has not heard the whistle. That's all well and good, except none of it counts. Antac signaling the play was dead before the snap.
Well, you think it takes a false start somewhere up on the line to make it a dead play before the ball is even snapped. Unless there was contact up front. If there's contact, if one of the Oilers comes across and makes contact, it's dead.
There are flags on either side of the line of scrimmage. The 2 officials saw it, whatever it was.
We have illegal procedure on the offense, the center, moving the ball prior to the snap. Penalize half the distance to the goal line, 4th down.
Moving the ball before the snap. That's certainly a no-no. Here's the ball right here. Let's see if we can see it being moved.
Ed Brady.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
He's moving it all over.
Yeah, first it's a wiggle of the shoulders, and then it's actually picking the ball up and moving it forward. That's a little different. That's Ed Brady.
Yep. Trying to take a mulligan. And here we go again. We've got another fight.
The ball doesn't even have to be in play for these guys to fight.
And again, if it's another offsetting personal foul, what is it going to mean?
Oh, now there comes another one in. Now that won't be offsetting. Now the second flag, you can almost guarantee that's against one individual.
One of those Oilers, Chris Dishman, has had a lot of problems with penalties this season. He's taken a lot of heat down here. Highly emotional, and he's been involved in several allocations that he's been criticized by the coaching staff for. And he was right in the middle of that one.
I think we'll take a breather here.
Unsportsmanlike defense, number 23, 15-yard penalty.
Ooh, Richard Johnson.
Well, that doesn't explain the late flag, unless that is the late flag, but then that doesn't explain the early flag.
Did he mean 23 or 28 is my question right now. Dishman is 28.
It is a first down.
That is a very expensive penalty. There's Dishman coming in late after things had quieted all down, and I'm sure the call was 28 rather than 23, but Dishman again losing his head and costing the Oilers perhaps great field position. That's a first down as they move it out to the 19-yard line.
Major break early on for the Bengals. Again, he said 23. He meant 28. It's clear here. You see the flag. There it is.
Yeah, it certainly appears to be on Dishman. Poor Richard Johnson, though, he took the beating.
So instead of a punt and good field position for Houston, Cincinnati ball 19-yard line instead of a 4th and 17 from the 4. 1st and 10 from the 19. And here's Brooks behind Jennings. Cuts it back inside to the 30 to the 39-yard line. James Brooks. And Cincinnati showing why they are #1 in the NFL in rushing.
And why not come back to the left side, Frank? If you're going to make a cutback, why not go back over behind Reimers, go ahead and behind Munoz, following the block of Stanford Jennings, his fullback, who takes Steve Brown clear out of the picture. Boy, James Brooks, 5'10", 180 pounds, and to watch him run, sometimes you think he's 200 plus.
The only man on the roster that the Bengals have picked up in a trade over the years, James Brooks, down from San Diego.
Glanville says if Brooks has a good day, they win. If he has a bad day, they lose.
Send him out there. Got Pete Johnston. The Chargers got Pete Johnston in that trade.
And this is Stanford Jennings picking up 7. Jennings had a pretty good week last week against the Raiders on a day when Brooks was hurt. Eric Ball was hurt, the rookie fullback out of UCLA, and Jennings picked up the slack, but in a losing cause to Los Angeles.
Sam Weiss doesn't mind having in there at all. He gained over 90 yards last week. Good special teams man, can do it all back there.
And the first quarter will expire. So there's been plenty of action.
They might have to go to their respective corners and get retaped.
Plenty of action, but not much scoring.
Put a little Vaseline on the eyebrows.
In fact, none.
Where's Alex when we need him?
Yeah, Alex Waller, we need you quickly. Monday Night Football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Always count on you, Al.
ABC's Monday Night Football. Brought to you by Nissan. Built for the human race.
Back at the Astrodome in Houston, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. Monday Night Football. Good sign.
Go to the house. Aspirin sales must be big in Houston.
What is that? Who's Cutie?
Did you ask? Did you ask?
The burden I carry around.
2nd and 3 for Cincinnati.
One I've never been told.
And this is Brooks, who gets wrapped up in the backfield by Doug Smith. And Bubba McDowell comes in to finish him off as well. And here are the numbers through the first 15 minutes, and look at the passing yardage as this graphic pops up.
I think we go back to just a few moments ago, and Chris Dishman got that personal foul that would have probably, had he not gotten that foul, the Oilers would have had great field position. As it was, 15 yards, and they got a first down, and they've got a drive going.
Look at the bottom, 10 minutes field position. 10 minutes of possession for the Bengals, once again proving that's a meaningless stat.
3rd and 6, and there's Brooks again.
Ta-ta.
Into Houston territory,
Ta-ta.
out in front, touchdown, James Brooks. And he takes a late shot from Brown. 58 yards.
Boy, and I don't know how hard Steve Brown hit James Brooks, but his being right behind him and lashing out at him certainly didn't allow Brooks to slow down. And Brooks goes right through the back of the end zone and over some chairs.
Brooks is all right, but as he was crossing the goal line, he was kind of taunting And then all of a sudden, the big shove, and look at the shoulder pads hanging out on Brooks. I've tried those a little earlier. They are really heavy. Now look at just looking around, kind of, hey, look at me. Well, that Steve Brown gave him quite a shove.
Yeah, and it really was a nothing push by Brown.
No.
I mean, it's really just a little tap to the back of the helmet.
Brooks went down when he tried to pull up.
Yeah, you really can't blame Steve Brown for anything there.
And there was no flag on the play, and Jim Breach, the once and present Bengal. He'd lost his job early in the season to Jim Gallery, who lasted only 4 games. Breach back. Brooks is back from that rib injury last week. Is he ever? 58 yards. They had not allowed a 100-yard game by a back in over a year. John L. Williams, the last to do it for Seattle last October, week 11 of 1988, and Brooks already at 108.
And Oiler defense was averaging only 90 yards against him, and Brooks himself has 108 yards.
Lee Johnson puts it in the air, and the ball floats down to the 3-yard line, taken there by Lorenzo White, and he is brought down at the 21-yard line. And here's another look at a beautiful trap.
It's Bruce Reimers, the left guard, coming around, and the down blocking on the onside by Walter Montoya Kozierski. And then James Brooks at the end of the run trips over a banner for a marching band that's here for halftime. He just tangled up in that green and yellow banner that they had stretched all the way across. You'll get a good look at it here.
Stratford Marching Band or something. They've made a move it now.
Yeah, well, they have moved the banner, and their insurance carrier, I'm sure, took a deep gulp.
10-yard penalty, first down.
Meanwhile, another penalty. This is not a personal foul, though, and that's news.
No, it's a penalty on a kick return, and that's not news.
What compounded the problems on that long run of James Brooks was the fact they were in a safety blitz and Patrick Allen was coming. He was the man that was trapped, and obviously there is no one behind him.
Eugene Seal was the man who was penalized, and so before that drive begins, you go back to the personal foul. Dishman on a 4th and 17 with Cincinnati punting. That gave Cincinnati a first down, and down the field they go.
Frank, as you're well aware, oftentimes a trap against the safety blitz is the best play in the game.
Indeed it is. You have that called. It's a straight sprint to the goal line.
7-0 Cincinnati. Moon from the 11-yard line gives it to Rozier, cuts to the outside, runs by White, and then Dixon takes him down at about the 18-yard line after a gain of 7. Fulcher and Dixon in on the tackle, and we can tell you that upcoming this Saturday, ABC's college football, UCLA and USC. Of course, the Trojans already going to the Rose Bowl, and others in the our viewing audience on Saturday will take a look at Anthony Thompson coming off that 377-yard rushing performance against Wisconsin, leading the Hoosiers against Illinois. 3:30 Eastern time this Saturday. Second and a short 3 from the 18-yard line. Delay, Rozier takes it out to the 27-yard line and picks up the first down. And again, it's Dixon coming up for the tackle.
A couple of big runs for Mike Rozier, who has really had trouble breaking loose this year. Hold out, then an injury, and the guy's rushing for less than a 3-yard average so far this season. Doesn't even have 100 yards coming into the game. He's over 100 now, but that's the way to cover it up when you know there's some contact coming your way. And maybe Mike Rozier is showing some signs of busting loose a bit.
Came in tonight with a measly 2.6 yards per carry average, and that is measly.
That is.
First and 10 from the 27, and Moon going deep, looking for Hill, and it's picked off. Picked off by Billups at the 26-yard line. Eric Thomas with the interception. Eric Thomas picking it off.
And Eric Thomas got real lucky. Because Eric Thomas is beaten by several yards. If that ball from Warren Moon is thrown far enough, that's a stroll to the end zone. Eric Thomas will take that one. Drew Hill was several yards past him, and the ball severely underthrown, and Eric Thomas able to step right in front of it and get a gift interception. Right now it's going the Bengals' way.
James Brooks creating some new Monday night memories tonight. He's already rushed for 108 yards. Bengals, after the interception, take over at their own 26. Cincinnati on top, 7-0. 12:34 to go in the first half. Bengals averaging 8 yards on first down.
And that is not measly.
And Esiason is going deep and looking for a lot more than 8, but off the fingertips of McGee. Tim McGee. It'll be 2nd and 10. And again, a vital game for both teams, in particular for Cincinnati, because they really have the tougher schedule coming down the stretch.
Jerry Glanville didn't understate it, did he, when he told us last night when James Brooks has a good day, they win, and when he doesn't, they lose.
Yeah,
prophetic.
But when you look at the amount of points that have been scored when these two teams have gotten together, a 7-0 lead at this stage of the ball game, totally meaningless. This could very well end up being a 41-38 type of ball game. These two seldom get together without ringing the bell a lot.
Cincinnati losing 41-6 here in their appearance last year against the Oilers. But they haven't won here in 5 years.
Since Leitch's first season, 1984. On 2nd and 10, Stanford Jennings, in a pretty good-sized hole, is exploited for a gain of about 6 to the 32-yard line. John Grimsley, the inside linebacker, 59, and his 6th year out of Kentucky, makes the tackle. And here come the Bengals, again with one of the Oilers on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And then Donaldson pops Hillary. Flags all over the joint.
Sean Jones.
Wait for Hantak to sort it out.
And Sean Jones looks like he's hurt, Al. Sean Jones down on the field.
Richard Byrd was the Oiler who was trying to get off the field as the Bengals, if you follow them at all, went with their attack offense.
Their second timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
Timeout. Sean Jones being down.
Yeah, but what happened to the play?
That's the first thing that has to be determined here.
Are they saying they called a timeout before the play? This is where we need the referee's help a bit in explaining what's going on. And I think that's what Jerry Glanville.
Jerry's saying, what's happening out here?
Yep.
I mean, that would explain everything if he granted Houston a timeout before the snap of the ball.
Now, they are saying it was before the snap. And now the back judge is going over with Glanville what was Cincinnati, as you saw, obviously coming up to try to get the play off before Houston could get set defensively. And Grimsley was the man who had called the timeout as Jones needs some assistance.
Might as well set that attack offense for Cincinnati. If you haven't followed him, the Cincinnati Bengals use it a lot. They come up to stay at the line of scrimmage, and when the Oilers try to change into a nickel, change their personnel, they run a play and catch the Oilers with 12 men on the field. They're trying to change, get into a nickel back or a dime back, and that's basically the thrust of it. And they're very good at it. They've been using for a couple of years. A lot of controversy over it, but it certainly has been effective.
3rd and 4. The Oilers have already used 2 of their timeouts in this half, which has 12-11 remaining. On 3rd and 4. Esiason trying to draw them off, and he does. William Fuller came across the line. Houston naturally pointing to the Bengals side of the line to say they were drawn
Munoz over in the left side has moved too.
Well, and then Joe Walter flinched after Fuller was already across the line.
False start. Offense number 63 simulating a snap. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Now, this is where it's tough to be an offensive lineman. Joe Walter doesn't move until William Fuller is already out of his stance and coming. He flinches, he reacts to that, and then he gets flagged. Now take a look at it. Joe Walter's the 2nd Bengal up. Now he moves a little bit. Munoz takes a full step on the top of the screen. That's a good call by the officials. That's a penalty on Cincinnati all the way.
3rd and 9, and Sean Jones is back in the game, so the injury very minor. That's him at the top of the screen. Martin goes in motion. It's a delay, and Brooks that time tried to spin away and couldn't. The ball is loose. The ball is alive at the 20. Esiason saying it should be dead. Who's got the football?
I don't see any. How are they going to call that a fumble?
Ray Childress.
I thought he was on the ground.
Brooks was spun around, maybe.
He's sitting on the ground.
The Oiler blocked the view of the official, but he was on the ground when that ball came out.
It's close. James Brooks spins and then heads to the ground. All right, let's look at it. There's James Brooks. The ball's in his left arm. Oh, I'm sorry, that's no fumble.
Surface can't cause a fumble.
Yeah, you've heard that a million times before. That's not a fumble. That's Cincinnati's ball right at the spot where James Brooks is on the ground.
And the next man you'll be hearing about was that man, Bill Swanson, who is the replay official.
Oh, and they've already heard about it because the Bengals have their punting unit out on the field.
But frankly, if that's exactly the spot where Brooks went down,
that's a good question in terms of contact at this point. There's no contact.
Well, he
made.
Wasn't he spinning away?
If there is no contact, then the ground can cause a fumble.
Glenn Montgomery had
this is an interesting
spun him around initially, right there. Well, they call it how they view it, but there was contact.
There was initial contact, then he spun away. Now take a look again. See if the contact causes him to go down.
There's Montgomery. There's contact. Spins him around. That's contact.
Yep.
Yeah, that's. I don't think the officials would have allowed him to get up and run with the ball there.
Right.
He spun off an Oiler and hit the ground. That is, he's hitting the ground, and the contact by one of the Oilers was a contributory factor.
Len Montgomery is the man who gets a hand on him, number 94. Here it is from the other side.
Much better angle. Watch number 94 come into the shot. And clearly spins Brooks around, and Brooks goes down. And you're right. They would not have allowed him to get up and run with the football. So it has to be construed as a tackle.
12:01 to go in the first half. Landville is about 10 yards out onto the field. And White's, of course, hopeful that this play will be overruled. And we are expecting a reversal, and so are the Bengals, because they have their punting unit out.
Well, I think it's optimistic thinking by Sam Weiss. He's trying to be the optimist by putting his offensive team out there. But based on what we've seen, I don't see how you can draw any other conclusion.
We see the contact. Now, the ground cannot cause the fumble. You've heard that 1,000 times. And that's exactly what happened. Brooks going down. He carries the ball loose, but, I mean, the ground had caused the ball to be jarred loose.
We've beaten this one up pretty good.
Oh, yeah, we've smashed this around.
All right, Dick.
None of us are in the...
Well, now Kenny Wolf is telling us that the report from the replay booth, nothing to indicate a reversal.
After further review, the play stands as called. 4th down, Cincinnati.
They did not definitively see contact, is the ruling, and thus Johnson comes in to punt on 4th down. And he gets away a booming kick. Kenny Johnson backs up, takes it at the 23-yard line, out past the 30, and Johnson tripped up at the 42-yard line. Good run back.
Al, I know there are a lot of people out there that are confused. We've got to correct the situation here. The officials we showed you on the field were pointing like Houston had recovered the ball. The official back at the spot ruled him down. They were going with that, and that's what the replay booth is saying. The officials on the field gave the ball to Cincinnati where Brooks was down to begin with. They didn't reverse that. Everyone's right. Good call.
And the confusion resulting when it was indicated that Houston had recovered the fumble.
Right.
7-0 Cincinnati. All right, we'll get back to the play involving the fumble or non-fumble by Brooks as we move along here with Houston's ball at the 42-yard line. 7-0 Cincinnati. Lorenzo White is in the game in the backfield, number 44, with Highsmith and Moon to throw, and Moon sets up a screen, and it's White who makes the catch. And Lorenzo White takes the ball out to the 49-yard line. It's funny, the way it appeared on the field with the officials pointing to the Cincinnati goal line as if Houston had recovered the fumble. Everybody was assuming that they were looking to see whether or not the ground had caused the fumble or whether or not Cincinnati would retain the ball. And then you had a non-overrule, as it turned out, and everybody got confused by it.
Well, Dick Hantek, the referee, did a good thing and a bad thing. He came in at the time and ruled the play down, but he didn't tell anybody about it.
Second and 2. Rozier to the 45-yard line, and that's a first down. And now we're being told the head linesman had blown his whistle, indicating the end of the play. And so he was the one. There he is. The head linesman tonight is Tom Johnson. And as one of the Oilers is down, Bob Morosco, the rookie tight end out of Penn State. So
he came in playing hurt tonight, worked out 3 hours before the game for Jerry Glanville, had a very bad ankle. There it is. He was questionable. I don't think they planned on him playing, and they decided to go with him, and I think they're going to be looking at the ankle once again.
So as it turned out on that play, it was Johnson who had made the initial call, which turned out to be correct. The officials had signaled Houston recovered. They took another look at it. And the way the head linesman called it is the way it wound up.
And if you got all that, well, right, Art McNally.
Well, you know what? It's just frustrating. It's frustrating to you as a viewer. It's frustrating to the fans in the stands who aren't tuned into anything and don't really know what's going on. And it's frustrating to us because we're left to speculate about something that is not explained. I always thought that was the purpose of the referee having a field mic, that he could activate it, talk to our television audience, talk to the fans here in the stands, and tell them exactly what is going on. All Dick Hantek had to say was, the ball has been ruled down at the spot, and it is 4th down. Then replay comes in, and we know what replay is attempting to review. We were left to speculate, and frankly, we feel like we've got egg on our face.
Well, sure, but the last thing you see that we see in the booth and that the fans see are the officials pointing to a first down for Houston.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for the audience because we burdened you with about 5 minutes of totally meaningless chatter because we were talking about the wrong thing. And you're going to say you've been listening to that for years anyway.
Yeah, right. Wasn't the first time we burdened you with 5 minutes of meaningless chatter.
And it won't be the last.
No.
Would you just go through that quickly again, Dan?
Yeah, okay. Just re-rack the tape and play it again. Oh, I'm going early. I'm taking a break.
Folks, that horse is dead for the night. At the 45-yard line, 1st and 10, Houston. And Highsmith takes it inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Jason Buck makes the tackle. Number 99, 3rd year out of Brigham Young. Warren Moon, big contract, first of a 5-year deal. He'll be 33 next Saturday.
They love him here in Houston. Very active in all kinds of community affairs. Signed that contract. They signed to give $200,000 to his church.
2nd and 4. This is Pinkett slipping to the outside and then taken down. Nice tackle made by number 53, Leo Barker. Stopping him short of the first down by about 3. 3rd and 3.
Oilers trying to get back to a game plan, I'm sure, that would take advantage of the fact that coming into tonight, the Bengals defense was 27th against the rush. Dan touched on it earlier. They like to go with their big backs, Highsmith and Rozier early in the game. Then they bring in Alan Pinkett, number 20, who is kind of a darter, a scrambler.
One of the things that's surprising about Houston is when they go into this 4 wide receiver offense, they run the ball half the time. It's not a situation just because they have 4 wideouts that it's going to be in the air.
3rd and a long 3. And Moon throws, and it is caught. A tremendous catch at the 34, and that's a first down. And it's Drew Hill with Eric Thomas draped all over him.
Cannot be a harder throw for a quarterback than rolling to his left. If you're a right-handed quarterback trying to set up and throw an out pattern, and what a fantastic catch by Drew Hill. That is highlight film material.
Well, you can make a collection of his catches because he had one last week against Detroit that would match this one, another one-hander.
Oh, that's remarkable. That's the best I've seen in a long time.
One hand's the back of the ball.
Oh, world class.
From the 34-yard line. Highsmith picking up 4. He takes it to the 30. Clock ticks down to 8 minutes to play in the half. Bengals on top 7-0 in the Astrodome.
And Houston marching right along. Trailing by 7 and threatening as they're finally inside. Well, they're right at the 30-yard line, but a good solid drive being put together by Warren Moon and the Oilers, mixing it up well.
Talk about all the activities of Warren Moon. He's the Travelers Man of the Year for the Houston Oilers, and certifiably so. And of course, the Travelers Man around the NFL will be announced Super Bowl weekend. We tell you every week about the good things that goes on in this world of pro football, and some of the players are so active in their communities. And certainly Warren Moon is one of those.
On 2nd and 6. Protection, and then the throw is not there. Intended for Drew Hill. Eric Thomas covering, but simply an errant pass from Moon.
Drew Hill being picked up. He only goes about 172 or 3 pounds, 5'9". What an athlete. He can leap with the very best of them. And we saw a moment ago how sure-handed he is. The Rams, of course, creating him in 1985, and he's had a remarkable career ever since then. Only Jerry Rice with more yardage during that period of time.
3rd and 6. As you can see, the Bengals have done it all on the ground.
Who'd believe they'd be a negative yardage passing?
Givens is the man in motion. Unless they have 3 receivers going into this pattern from the left side, and a draw play and a first down for Highsmith inside the 20 to the 18, where he's tackled by Fulcher.
You know, it's what I touched on earlier. Just because there are 4 wide receivers in the game, they spread the field. They feel that they've softened you up in the middle defensively, and they're not afraid to come after you then out of the 1 back with a big back. And that time it is Alonzo Highsmith. There's motion. There are 4 wide receivers, and look how it is spread the Bengal defense. You're not going to find a picture with fewer defenders in it than that shot right there from the high end zone. Cincinnati's going to have to make somewhat of an adjustment. They can't play the 4 wideouts as a passing formation as much as they are.
And Houston stays in it on 1st and 10 down in that red zone.
Play clock is down to 1 second, and they just get it off. Moon out of the gun, throwing over the middle. The catch is made by Hill, and he takes it to the 7-yard line where it's 1st and goal.
What a show he's putting on tonight. And a good look off by Warren Moon. He was looking for Jeffries on the other side, and they talk about how Moon has developed knowing the entire field. He can scan it so quickly. He looks to Jeffries. Jeffries is not there. He comes right back knowing exactly where Hill is going to be. Hill doesn't double cross him. He's right where he should be, and Moon is able to get it into him. And again, a good catch against very good defense on the part of Cincinnati.
Lewis Phillips gambles, makes a play for the ball, and sails past Hill. Maybe a situation where instead of gambling for the ball, you come up and put your hat right in his back. Maybe force the ball to come loose.
1st and goal from the 7-yard line. On the ground, picking up 2, Alonzo Highsmith. 2nd and goal. So the Oilers trying to tie it up here with 5:19 to play, and we can tell you we'll be at RFK Stadium. Redskins knocking off Philadelphia yesterday, taking on the Denver Broncos. Maybe the biggest surprise in the AFC.
Well, they did it with decimated offensive line and just hung in there with a lot of cuts.
The Eagles in a slump.
Broncos surprising because a lot of people thought they'd have a 500 season. Instead, on top, probably entrenched in 1st place in the AFC West. On 2nd and goal, Moon throwing to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Ernest Gifford.
Oh, they're ruling him out. The officials ruling him out.
One official said touchdown, the other says no, sir.
They're not going to like this at all, but I think we're going to see it's a good call by the official. And you know, we criticize the officials a lot of times for maybe making a call that we don't agree with, but you have to credit them with perfect positioning when it does happen, and I think that's what we're going to see here. All right, let's take a look at it. Now take a look at the feet. There's one, and the left foot comes down clearly out of bounds. What a sensational call.
One official overruling the other after one had indicated touchdown, and it's fumbled on a little toss to Pinkett, but he recovers and takes it to the 2-yard line.
Moon and Pinkett on the option, and Cincinnati playing it well, and obviously they don't use that very often. 4th down, and Cincinnati is looking over it to see what Jerry Glanville is going to do. They have been going for the first down on a lot of fourth downs. They've gone 9 times this year on fourth down. They've been successful on every occasion, and he's going to go again. Riverboat Gambler.
So 4th and goals, and DeHaas staying on the sideline.
Dan pointed out this series provides so many high-scoring games, and I guess Jerry says, let's try and get 7.
4th and goal. Under 4 minutes now to play in the half, and Moon on an option is taken down by Jim Scow, number 70.
Didn't work much better than the last one they tried. Well in play, the option down the line.
What's also nothing new. The Oilers have run that option with Moon coming down the line of scrimmage repeatedly, down in a short yardage situation, and Jim Scow, give him credit, there's no way he's going to play the pitch. Back to college days, the first thing as a defensive end you have to do, play the ball, play the quarterback, tackle him whether he pitches or not. And this time he didn't pitch, and he got the ball and the man.
Ago, not big, only goes about 240 pounds. Go back a moment ago to Gibbons now. You see Ed Merrifield raise his hand to indicate the touchdown, then he sees it, corrects it, and he was right on top of it.
Overruled himself, as it turned out. So Cincinnati, after the goal line stand, takes over from the 3-yard line. 3:53 to go in the half. Coleman is in motion. Esiason off the play fake. And Boomer on a roll, and Esiason steps out of bounds after he picks up the first down. So Boomer takes him out of the shadow of the goal post. 35 rushes this season coming in tonight, and an average, a Brooksian type average.
He was spitting blood a week ago, and I don't think you want your quarterback out there running around. He's wearing a special pad made by a company here in Houston, Power Athletic Company, and it goes, as you can see, it's almost like a flak jacket. I guess you could call it a sort of a generic name now for this pad, but it goes down and covers the back. So he had a bruised lung against the Raiders, and there was a lot of concern for much more than whether he'd be able to play this week, but he obviously is all right.
1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Brown in motion, a little short drop, and then Brown makes the catch. No catch, incomplete. Hit by Steve Brown as the ball got there, forcing the incompletion. 2nd down.
These cornerbacks of the Oilers, Patrick Allen and this man Steve Brown, have been much maligned, and it has forced Jerry Glanville to play a lot more zone defense than he wanted to play. Jerry Glanville doesn't like his zone defense. He likes attack. He likes man for man, a lot of blitzing, a lot of stunning, and he had to get out of that and play a lot of zone this year.
Well, I know one thing about a quarterback, and I got 2 corners out there that are playing the short routes that tight. A little out and up might not be a bad pattern. These 2 Oiler cornerbacks are smothering everything up tight.
They've given up a lot of big plays.
It's about time for a fly pattern.
2nd and 10, not here though. Brooks cutting to the outside, and Brooks is run down at the 18-yard line by Steve Brown.
Steve Brown is having a not bad first half. This guy is just doing it all, whether it's coverage, whether it's supporting the run.
Brooks is wearing the exact same pad. A little different because it was set for him because he had bruised ribs from the Raiders game a week ago. Al told you a moment ago, both Esiason and Brooks went out of that game early on, and they were really scrambling to get any kind of an offense going. Sam White was saying, I was drawing the plays in the dirt. There's Esiason.
3rd down and 6. Cincinnati from the 18. 3:36 to go in the half. Bengals on top 7-0, and that's William Fuller. Was he drawn?
Well, he's claiming that Joe Walter moved again. Joe Walter not putting up much of an argument. I'd maybe try to plead my case.
False start. Offense number 63, simulating a snap. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
We've heard that song before.
Well, I talked earlier about Joe Walter trying to come back. There he is on the left, and you saw the little flinch. You cannot move at all. I mean, that draws the defensive man offside, and I credit William Fuller with making a smart play, coming all the way across, initiating contact, and forcing the officials to make a call.
3rd and 11. Martin in motion. Fake to Brooks. Esiason scrambling, and Esiason is sacked back at the 1-yard line. No safety. Sacked at the 1.
Oh, that was so close. Esiason scrambling to get down, knowing he was in danger of getting into that end zone, and he just did.
He's inside the 1. I mean, that's as close as you can get to being on the field of play and not taking a safety. Trying the play action inside. You see Max Montoya, his guard, coming to the outside. And Boomer just not being able to find anyone. And there's William Fuller. Hey, give this guy credit. He's had some series.
And Cincinnati will have to punt from a tight offensive formation. They cannot put wideouts because they need the protection there. They cannot take their deep drop on the part of Lee Johnson. So Houston should get a good return.
They set up the block, and they block the punt in the end zone. And it's a loose ball in the end zone.
Well, if the Oilers get it, it's a touchdown. If the Bengals get it, it's a safety.
Johnny Meades with the block, number 91. Is it 2 points or is it 7 points? That's the question.
They're fighting for points right now.
5-point differential here, and it's a touchdown.
What a difference when you don't have the luxury of that 13 or 14-foot drop by the part of the punter. That time he could only go back 10 yards. You've got to get it out of there so quickly. That time, no way he could have got that off. But you've got to just snap this off quickly.
But Frank, punt protection is inside out. You have got to start in the middle, protect your way to the outside. You cannot allow someone like Meades to be that wide open coming up the middle. You have got to protect the alley for your punter. Johnny Meades had a clear alley all the way up. That is a horrendous piece of blocking by the Bengals and their punt team.
You know, something they don't work on, Dan. You always practice your punting from a wide formation. The punter back 13, 14 yards. I don't know whether that had any impact on it, but it's something you'd work on all the time.
Inside out.
Similar to that play last night in the Raiders-San Diego game, where the man broke free, came in, blocked the punt. Partially blocked that punt, but this was a clean full block by Meades and a touchdown by Seal and an extra point by Zendejas to tie the game.
That time Meades was literally just turned loose, unaccounted for, and allowed to come up the middle untouched.
What an emotional thing it is to have a punt block, to have a field goal block when you're down in close, to turn a football game around on you very quickly. And this was going pretty much Cincinnati's way until this past drive.
And so Johnson will come back out on the field to free kick it from the, or to Cincinnati will, he was hoping he'd come back out to free kick it after a safety. Instead, Cincinnati will get the ball. They have all of their timeouts remaining. And another look right now. There's a shot by Meades, touchdown by Seal.
There's Johnny Meades. You have to start with these guys and let these outside guys go. Account for the guys in the middle. It's an overreaction to the outside by the Bengals and their punt team. Let the outside guys go up the field. They're out of it, especially on a short punt. You're not ever going to have one blocked from the corner when your punter is only 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And the former special teams coach, well, he knows that's the easiest way to get back in a ballgame.
Everywhere he's been as a special team coach, he has led the league in some category at Detroit, Atlanta, and they work on it here with the Oilers. He hasn't forgotten that part of the game.
For Seal, that's the second touchdown of his career. He had a 73-yard interception return against Denver in 1987. Picks up another one tonight, and they have to put it in the air. This is a relatively short kick taken at the 14-yard line. And it's Ira Hillary who brings it out to the 31. With 2 minutes and 51 seconds remaining in the first half. Well, a reminder, tomorrow night, the conclusion of the ABC miniseries, Small Sacrifices, starring Farrah Fawcett, John Shea, featuring a special appearance by Ryan O'Neal that follows new episodes of Who's the Boss and The Wonder Years, Tuesday, tomorrow, here on ABC. Halftime, greatest moments, another look at that, and Lynn Swan, and an interview with Jerry Glanville.
Maybe you can clear up that snake thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about Kenny Stabler either.
No. A water moccasin.
Mysterious snake bite. I think Mike Rozier said he was bitten by a grasshopper.
From the 31-yard line, Brooks puts his head down and picks up 4.
That's just not the running, Al, of a 180-pounder. Frank, I mean, the way this guy, I admire him so much, his ability to not just dance to the sidelines when he has to put the shoulder down and be the deliverer of a blow, not the recipient of one.
Yeah, 180, 185 pounds. That's the best thing you can do, too. To take that outside, he would really have been hammered. This way, he puts his head down. He's so effective with it. I talked earlier about the way he cuts back against the grain with total disregard to preserving that body, and it's the best way to break off the big run.
Second and 5 from the 35-yard line. Brooks again, and Brooks picks up about 6, close to 7 yards. In his career, Brooks averaging 4.8 yards a carry. That's the highest among active players, with a minimum of 500 carries. So Bo Jackson doesn't fit in. And speaking of Bo Jackson, there was a pretty good back right there. That's
Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell, 78 against the Miami Dolphins. One of the great games ever played right here. And Earl Campbell had 199 yards rushing on a great night by Bob Greasy. The Oilers winning it. Right now, however, they are tied with the Cincinnati Bengals at half. Oh, 2 minutes from the half.
2 minutes remaining in the first half. The game tied 7-7. Bengals have the ball at their own 42-yard line. They have all of their timeouts remaining. 1st and 10. There's his all-time high, 163 against New England. He is 40 short of that in less than a half. McGee in motion. And the catch is made by McGee, and he's tackled by Steve Brown on the far side.
That's what Cincinnati's been looking for. Now they're going to go with their attack offense, what they call their sugar attack. They'll line up very close to the ball. And if the Oilers try to make a change, they'll turn around and try to get the ball snapped while the Oilers are changing. But the Oilers are not changing. They're keeping their same 11 out there.
2nd and 3.5 from the 48-yard line. Bengals still on the minus side and passing. -17. Big hole again for Brooks, who takes it to the 45 and a first down. He's tripped up by Steve Brown. Clock ticking down to 1:43 remaining in the half.
You know, Brooks is having to work this hard because going back to the second game of the season, the Bengals lost their Pro Bowl runner, their rookie last year. Dickie Woods went down with a very severe knee injury, and Brooks has had to take up the slack, and he has more than done that.
Every running back should have to work as hard as Brooks. First person he's having to make contact with is someone in the secondary. The line's killing him up front.
There's a fake end around to Brooks, and Esiason just steps out of bounds. William Fuller was in the neighborhood, and Boomer stops the clock with 1:15, and Jerry Glanville exhibited some decent moves there on the sideline.
Gary, you know whether to buy any medicine from him or not. He will really, he'll put you on a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm half kidding. We got the full lecture on that moccasin snake bite that happened to him a few weeks ago against the Pittsburgh game.
One thing about Jerry, he gives of his time freely. We left his suite last night, and the guy wants us halfway down the hall. It was like, you don't have to leave yet, do you?
And that was about 11:30.
Wanted to know where you were going. 2nd and 11 from the 46.
Secret.
Yeah. Esiason throwing. The catch is made by Brown, and Brown takes it to the 29-yard line. Instead of stepping out of bounds, he picks up 6 or 7 more yards. And now the Bengals will take their first time out with 1:08 after a 17-yard pickup.
I was thinking, though, Eddie Brown knows that the Bengals have all 3 of their timeouts, and he also knows that he might have snapped this off and taken it all the way in. Now, he was expected, you would think, with 1:08 remaining, that he'd just take it out of bounds, kill the clock, save a timeout. But they have 3 of them. He thinks, no, I'm going to try and break this thing off. He didn't do it, but he gave it a try inside the 30, and the Bengals still have 2 timeouts.
Isn't it nice to see that? It's almost automatic that in that position a receiver catches the ball and just ducks out of bounds to avoid the hit. Here's a guy that tries to make something happen, works back to the inside, ends up being hit by 3 different Houston Oilers, all in an effort to make something happen for his team. It's a part of the game that you see disappearing a bit. Automatic to step out of bounds to avoid the hit. It's nice to see someone fight for that extra yard.
What Jerry Glanville told us last night? He said, my men run out of bounds. He said, I run them out of town.
Yeah, he said, Jerry made a statement that I'd like to go back and check the films. He said, I haven't had a running back run out of bounds in 4 years. I'd be willing to go back and scan the film. That's tough to buy, Jerry.
We wouldn't want to check all of his statements, but
First and
they
10.
get out there a little bit.
That goes in there with the snake and the grasshopper.
From the 29 on first down. Esiason throwing open is Brown, and Brown this time can't get out of bounds. He is stopped at the 21-yard line. Clock ticking down under a minute.
What a great throw by Esiason. Brown came all the way to his right, cut it back diagonally across the field, was wide open, and Esiason had to throw totally off balance, and he got it there. Just flipped the wrist and got it there.
2nd and 1 from the 21. Esiason throwing, and it's a low throw, and Stanford Jennings, the intended receiver, at the 18-yard line. They spotted at the 19-yard line, and it's very close to a first down. Now what's Hantak? Yeah, now he's moving it back to the 21. It was no catch.
The Bengals come in with their own 4 wide receiver offense. They bring in Ira Hillary and Mike Martin. It's Tim McGee and Eddie Brown stay on.
3rd and 1 at the 21 after the incompletion. 35 seconds.
This almost guarantees you're going to have man-for-man coverage.
And they give it to Brooks, and this is going to be close now. I think he has it. He gets to the 19-yard line. The marker's at about the 19 and a half. 29 seconds. Again, the Bengals have a pair of timeouts remaining. And they want to measure. Sam White, 6th season.
And of course, that stops the clock. 29 seconds.
They're measuring, but it appears to me as if he has the first down.
Kid about Jerry Glanville, he is one of the more colorful guys around, one of the most controversial too. You don't want to bring his name up in front of a lot of head coaches, but then Swan is going to take a look at him at halftime.
I find Jerry to be remarkably refreshing. I do indeed. A breath of fresh air where there are too many clones and too many people in this game trying to act just like the next guy, fit the norm, fit the mold. Jerry Glanville is certainly not that.
1st and 10 from the 19, and it's off the fingertips. Flag comes in. McGee may have been hit early.
And Richard Johnson, I think, was the second guy in there, and I wonder if he didn't draw the flag. And McGee is slow to get up.
Allen was covering from the left side. Richard Johnson came in, and it also appeared that it could have been caught.
Now, we may have an interference call. We may have a personal foul.
Pass interference.
That's what it is.
Defense. First down.
That'll be on Patrick Allen for having the hands in the back of Eddie McGee. Let's try Tim McGee. I kind of consolidated Mr. Brown and Mr. McGee.
Ain't funny, McGee.
Again, we talked about the weak corners of the Houston Oilers, and Patrick Allen was clearly beat.
Yep.
And
you could see he had the left arm around the back, had the right arm on the side. I think we'll get a good look at it here. Allen behind McGee.
if he doesn't do this, it's probably caught.
Tough to see. The right, actually, from that vantage point, didn't appear to have anything to do with it. Must have been all the left.
Fake to Jennings. Esiason on 1st and goal. Throws, and it's incomplete on a tackle-eligible play. Anthony Munoz, no stranger to that play. He's scored 4 touchdowns in his NFL career, and he goes nose-to-nose or mask-to-mask with Doug Smith.
Well, Munoz was actually lined up at tight end that time.
But he had to be, of course, declare his eligibility to do that, wearing number 78.
He'll actually have to line up at tight end again this time. To go back to tackle, he would have to come out of the game for one play.
And they've already announced it to the crowd. There he is, an eligible receiver on the left side. 18 seconds now. That's Rodney Holman behind him.
Well, Boomer's going to say he can't go.
Play clock is down to 6.
Well, we've had a little bit of everything. Why not this? This has been some half.
And now Glanville asking the crowd to quiet down. Of course, it was the Bengals that got this whole thing started in the preseason game with New Orleans.
Thank you.
There's our sound meter. We're up between a jackhammer and a Stones concert. Speaking, the Stones were here not long ago. Now it's a minor jackhammer. Now it's a major jackhammer. Second and goal. And Esiason can milk this baby better than any quarterback in the league.
I think he's going to try to go with it. Yeah.
He does. And they give it to Craig Taylor, a rookie out of West Virginia.
That's flag very late.
Carry. Flag comes in. It's a touchdown. Taylor crosses the plane. Only his 4th carry of his rookie season.
That flag very late, called after Taylor was in there for the 6th.
And it's going to be against the Oilers. And Taylor, who missed last week's game because of the flu at L.A., has scored a touchdown.
Flag was for a 5-yard face mask, which will not be enforced. We have a touchdown.
I think Glenn Montgomery, number 94, might have the face mask of Craig Taylor. It was ruled to be the inadvertent type, so only a 5-yarder on the kickoff. But how about some excitement for Craig Taylor, this rookie from West Virginia? It's an NFL TD on Monday night.
How about a first half? 7. We've had everything.
Taylor coming over the 6th round. West Virginia breaches extra point out of Johnson's hold is good. And Taylor, a good blocking back more than anything else. Only is, as I say, the 4th carry of his career and a most memorable one.
Taylor was one of the Bengals that went down last week before the Raiders game. He was sick. They put him on the inactive list. Pretty good size, goes about 225 pounds, just puts the head down, bowls it into the end zone, and you'll see the face mask. And it is Glenn Montgomery. Of course, the 5 yards will not be assessed. House of Pain is aching at the moment. I was kind of surprised that the crowd would quiet down as they did. They reacted to Jerry Glanville, the Oiler players.
And we have 18 seconds remaining now in the first half. Bud Adams has owned this team since it was an American Football League franchise when the AFL was founded in 1960. So the 30th season for the Houston Oilers. They used to play at old Jefferson Stadium and then Rice Stadium. They won the first 2 AFL championships in 60 and 61.
I guess when you own the team, you get driven to a hot dog stand, huh?
Yes, you do.
Heck, 30 years, I've had 14 coaches, too. It's pretty tough taskmaster.
Remember number 1? Lou Remkus was the man. Yep.
I would have perhaps recalled, but I looked over and got George Hill's eye. But they have had 14 coaches. Now you put 14 into 30. What's that?
14 into 30 is 2.0.
It means
7394.
It means don't buy rent.
That's right. Don't buy. Yeah. Lee Johnson moves the ground ball and a little Cal rugby play here. As Kenny Johnson takes the lateral, flag comes in, and why not? I mean, that's the perfect way to end this half with a little bit of laundry. 7 seconds to go. 14-7 Cincinnati. Again, Cleveland on top. They will lead the winner of this game by a game and the loser by 2 with 6 weeks to play.
Holding on the return, number 53, 10-yard penalty, first down.
If this half ends the way it has been played, we'll have a brawl. I mean, we'll have a bench clear if it ends the way it's gone so far. Penalty markers, confusion, in-your-face football, hard hitting, excellent catches, superb runs. We've had it all here in the first 30 minutes.
And a Pro Bowl half by one James Brooks.
Well, with I think with a hearty assist from the 5 guys up front and some excellent lead blocking by Stanford Jennings.
Warren Moon sets up a screen, and it's Pinkett who makes the catch and just barely holds on after the juggling act.
might be the ugliest screen I've ever seen.
Yep. Not a bad time for it, though. It ends the half. Teams leave the field before 60,000 at the Astrodome. Cincinnati leading by a touchdown. And ABC's Monday Night Football returns after a commercial, a message from the NFL, and a word from our ABC stations.
And Glanville's going, boy, you should have seen the size of that snake.
Bit me right on the foot.
What venom? Ooh.
Fortunately, swallowed a rat.
Lead the winner of this game by 1 game, the loser by 2. And we'll go back and show you the 3 touchdowns in the first half. The first, this beautiful trap, James Brooks goes through the middle, 58 yards for the touchdown, 7-0 Cincinnati. And that came after the Bengals were able to retain possession because of a personal foul on Chris Dishman. And then this blocked punt after a sack of Esiason inside the 1. Johnson taking the snap at the back of the end zone. Meads with the block. Seal recovers for the touchdown. And that tied the game at 7-7 with 3 minutes to play in the first half. But the Bengals then got the ball back and drove 70 yards in 11 plays, and it was capped off by this Craig Taylor touchdown from inside the 1 on only his 4th carry of the season, his rookie year, and his first NFL touchdown. And it's 14-7 as we get set for the beginning of the second half. Esiason and Moon, the 2 quarterbacks, but the big man in the first half, number 21 for the Bengals, Mr. James Brooks.
Coming into tonight, Moon was 2nd ranked in the AFC as 2nd ranked quarterback, and Esiason was 3rd.
Yeah, well, Boomer's numbers may drop a bit after the first half of passing that he put together along with his Cincinnati Bengal ball club. Take a look at that. 8 yards. Although, if you look at Houston with only 36, and when you look at Houston, only 103 yards in total offense for a half, that's really low. I mean, those are not big numbers by either club, although the 157 rushing for Cincinnati is some kind of half.
30th anniversary cake. Bud Adams was down on the field, the owner of the Houston Oilers, as the Oilers are celebrating their 30th anniversary.
And the cake has left the building, so now we can start the second half. We've been delayed here for several minutes, waiting for them to remove the pastry.
They'll send the cake out into the rain, and we'll get set to start the second half. Oilers defensively this season so good against the rush normally, but tonight the Bengals have run roughshod through the Oilers rushing defense, and the kickoff is fielded in the end zone by Kenny Johnson, who puts his knee down there, and Houston will take over at the 20-yard line after the touchback. Only 44 yards passing combined in a first half, and both teams have been vulnerable to big plays, and each has exhibited some leaky pass defense of late, but not tonight.
So far. Oilers again going with the zone, primarily a zone defense. The Bengals always come down here expecting to see the Oilers in a man-for-man, and they have been using most of the zone tonight, and it's been very confusing for them. At least the results have been very confused for the Cincinnati Bengals.
First play in the third quarter as Moon sets up, throws over the middle, finds an open man. It's Jeffries for a first down. Haywood Jeffries. And that is the way it's pronounced, even though the I and the R appear to be reversed.
Another #1 draft pick. Al was spent most of last year on the IR and really starting to blend in well with Drew Hill and Ernest Givens, the 2 outside receivers. When you have 3 like Hill and Givens and Jeffries, you can do a lot of things.
First and 10 after a 12-yard pickup from the 32-yard line. Mike Rozier goes through the middle, and Fulcher comes up to make the stop after a 4-yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the 36-yard line.
Let's take a look at David Fulcher, the all-pro strong safety for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he was kind of funny jogging out onto the field tonight. Jogged past us and said, "House of Pain." Oh, I'm so scared. Yeah, if I was 235, and a safety. I don't think I'd be scared of much of anything either. What a big man to be playing in the secondary.
2nd and 6. Moon throws. Catch is made at the 45-yard line by Gibbons, and he is tackled at the 46.
That's him again.
The play.
Fulcher actually, who just made that tackle, is almost the same size as the defensive left end for the Bengals. Jim Scow goes about 6'3", 240 pounds, and Fulcher is about the same thing. Could be a little time at linebacker towards the end of this career for David Fulcher.
From the 47-yard line, a first down, back-to-back first downs for the Oilers. Early 3rd quarter, Cincinnati leading 14-7. And Rozier pounds it through the middle and takes it into Cincinnati territory. Frank, you touched on it earlier, the difference between these two teams. The Bengals like to trick you. And Jerry Glanville was telling us last night he has a lot of respect and he admires Sam White, but he says, hey, let the Bengals handle the trickery. His exact quote was, Halloween's for Sam. We'd rather break your nose.
He never understates it, does he? It's a rather basic game, isn't it?
Right.
But it doesn't remind you of every special teams coach you've ever known, Dan.
Oh, absolutely. The mentality is there. The special teams play is break your nose football. It is wild, reckless, roll out, throw your body around. And that's the way this entire blue-shirted Oilers squad plays.
That's where he made his name, Jerry Glanville.
Little toss on 2nd and 6, and Highsmith gets hit in the backfield. Jason Buck was there first, and then Jim Scow finished him off. No gain.
Talked about the size of Scow on the left. Well, Jason Buck on the other side isn't much bigger. He goes about 250. Not that big up front.
But they are quick.
Very athletic.
Yeah, you saw that move to the outside, and then Jason Buck with the ability to react.
From the 49 of Cincinnati. And Moon with a leaping catch. No, out of bounds. Jeffries out of bounds. Ricky Dixon was there covering.
Well, that's an easy completion if that ball is just a couple of feet lower. What a sensational effort by Haywood Jeffries going up for a ball that sailed on Warren Moon.
The decision was pretty evident right there.
They're not partial at all to their team.
No. Montgomery's kick floats down inside the 5 and takes a very fortuitous Houston bounce, a sideways bounce, down by Seal at the 4, and the Bengals are pinned deep. 44-yard punt.
It's a good thing the ball took that kind of a bounce, a fortuitous bounce, as about 7 Oilers ran past it. And Al, I wish I could be just like you.
Into Satoris. Cincinnati will take over. Rushing tonight, the Bengals 157 yards, only 8 yards in the air. Houston 74 on the ground and 60 up top.
Offensive thriller.
Guys from the USS Mobile Bay among the capacity crowd at the Dome. Cincinnati 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line. And it's Brooks. One of the rare times tonight that Houston's been able to bottle them up. Not much there for Brooks. The Oilers tonight have already yielded more yards on the ground than in any one single game this season.
Well, that's what one long run will do. It's very difficult for James Brooks to have a bad night when he gets off to a start like he did, breaking the long one for the 6 points right off the bat. It's tough to have a bad evening when you start off with. How long was that run?
58.
58. When you start out with a 58-yard average, it's tough to work your way down to 5 or 6 yards.
2nd and 9 from the 6. Brown is the man in motion. And it's Sanford Jennings, and he goes nowhere. He is stopped by Richard Bird, number 71, out of Southern Mississippi. Sanford Jennings, we mentioned seeing a lot of action tonight because of the injury to Eric Ball, a rookie out of UCLA, who was the man really taking the spot of Ickey Woods, who's undergone surgery and is out for the season. And there is Ball, who is active, can play, but he was hurt last week in the game in Los Angeles, and he hasn't seen any action tonight.
With a hip pointer, and if you ever had one, you know, extremely painful.
3rd and 9. McGee in motion. Esiason looks one way, then the other, throws, and Brown had forward progress for a first down, then gets pushed back, and they will give it to him out to the 16-yard line and move the chains. Stopped by Lyles and Allen.
Houston gambling that time, dropping back 8 men in coverage, hoping to get some sort of a pass rush with only their 3 down linemen, and frankly, it backfired. Boomer Esiason had time to go from one receiver, scan the field, and you saw the way he worked across the field before making the completion for the first down. That's
Super work on that offensive line.
Look at that. Look at the time he gets, and that's the problem. Tough to put pressure on the quarterback, only sending 3 men.
8:50 to play, third quarter. Cincinnati ahead by 7. On 1st and 10, it's Brooks. Getting a couple out to the 19-yard line. McDowell and Grimsley in on the tackle. Report on Drew Hill of Houston, a back contusion, and not expected to return. It's Floyd Reese, who is the linebacker coach for the Houston Oilers. We show you Reese because we have another guy we'd like you to take a peek at. And there he is, the manager of the Houston Astros, Art Howe.
They could do minoxidil commercials.
Second and 8 from the 19-yard line. And Jennings hit hard. Al Smith, third year out of Utah State and having a good season, quietly having a very good season. The inside linebacker makes it a stop.
The reason Art Howe is over on the sidelines, Jerry Glanville having a little fun with Sam Weiss, talking about how he thinks the Bengals were stealing the signals that Floyd Reese was sending out onto the field. He said, I'm going to stand Art Howe right next to Floyd Reese, have him signal at the same time, and let him try to figure out who is who and which signals are the real ones. But at the last minute, Jerry changes his mind and just gives Art Howe a free pass on the sideline.
They told that to Sam White, said, oh, there it goes. Our entire game plan.
On 3rd and 8, Esiason throwing an out pattern and no good at the 34-yard line for McGee. Out of bounds. I think I saw the official mouth 1 foot out.
McGee did not argue much with that. You'll see that he did not come down with both of them in bounds. Just could not, with that momentum, get it down.
There's one, and the left foot way out. I wish they were all that easy to call.
He is flying at this point. We see it in slow motion. You don't realize that he has accelerated to full speed. There's no way he could get it down.
Lee Johnson to do the punting. He'll accept the snap at the 5-yard line, and Kenny Johnson stands in his own 40. Johnson had his last punt blocked, gets this one away. It's a line drive, end over end, short kick. Kenny Johnson from the 49-yard line, and it's about a 9-yard run back as he takes it to the 42 of Cincinnati, where he's tackled by Solomon Wilcox. A minor scuffle here with 7:02 to play in the third quarter, and Cincinnati leading by a touchdown. McMahon is running second, and Dan Marino with 20% of the vote. There's the phone number at the bottom of the screen.
You get the feeling that Bo Jackson right about now could win anything.
Yeah.
Maybe the most remarkable athlete ever to play in this league. And that's certainly nothing but speculation, but wow, certainly the athlete of this generation.
Houston with the ball at the Cincinnati 42-yard line, and Moon begins by hitting Jeffries. And Jeffries close to a first down, and he's out of bounds just short of the first down marker. Ricky Dixon makes the tackle, and he is that much shy of a first. And he'll have to play a big role now because Drew Hill is out of the game. And Leonard Harris will become their 4th wide receiver, back of Curtis Duncan, who's number 3.
Harris only 1 reception coming into the night.
And there is Hill, who is done for the night. They're saying he's probably done for the night.
Well, without shoulder pads and a helmet.
Yeah, I'd say. He can put it naked. Low. Here's Highsmith for a first down, taking it to the 29-yard line.
And guess who? Number 33, David Fulcher.
Again, Hill with a back contusion. Occurred during the first half, a half in which he caught 4 balls.
When the shoulder pads come off, it's a there's an excellent indication that it's over.
He came in tonight with 40 receptions. That changes a lot of things for Warren Moon because they work so well in concert.
Still, though, when you've got Gibbons and you've got Duncan, you've got Jeffrey, Leonard Harris, there's a lot of talent still here.
1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. Again, good protection. Gibbons makes the catch and is spun down at the 19-yard line. Short of a first down by a yard or so. Lewis Phillips in on the tackle with 6 minutes to play in the 3rd period.
And he's the one that will have to take up the slack for Hill. One with the experience, the good hands, and like Drew Hill, he works very well with Moon.
And a very patient drive here by Warren Moon and the Oilers. Not going for the bomb, working the 6, 7, 8-yard pass routes, completing them underneath. Sometimes as a quarterback, it's tough to not want to go long and make a big play happen. Be patient, it works.
2nd and 1 from the 19-yard line, and Highsmith picks up the first down. He takes it to the 15. He is tackled there by David Fulcher, and it's a 1st and 10 for Houston at the 15-yard line. Again, coming up this weekend, the annual battle out on the coast, and UCLA having a terrible year, but the Bruins can salvage the season with a victory, or some part of it anyway, against USC. Trojans already going to the Rose Bowl. Anthony Thompson, coming off that spectacular performance, leads Indiana against Illinois. Thompson rushing for 377 yards on Saturday. And Denver against Washington is our Monday night matchup a week from tonight from RFK. On first down, it's Highsmith taking it to the 11, where he is pushed back by Bussey.
Boy, and good work up inside. This Oiler offensive line beginning to assert itself. Barney Bussey a little slow to get up, but Munchak, Matthews in the middle, George Yarno playing center tonight, Steinkühler at the 1 tackle, Bruce Davis at the other. They are beginning to control the line of scrimmage when Houston has the ball.
Cincinnati again came into tonight 27th against the rush out of 28 in the NFL. So they are vulnerable. The Oilers knew that. It was in the game plan to go at them, and now they are doing it consistently and well.
2nd and 5 from the 10-yard line out of the shotgun. 3 receivers to the left. Warren Moon looks like he wants to keep it, and that decision is one he pays for, because Barney Bussey, who was slow in getting up, makes the hit, and there's a flag down at the 17-yard line. And it's going against the Oilers. A lot of penalties in the first half, but this quarter has been penalty-free, relatively speaking.
Holding. Offense number 66. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
I'll take the play, which was a 3-yard loss.
Here's George Yarno right here, the center. He's the guy that gets flagged for the holding call. Look at the double blitz coming up the middle. Barney Bussey is making his play. Leo Barker as well, and Warren Moon found himself in a situation where there were more Bengals coming up the middle than he had people to block. That's one of the problems when you're in 4 wideouts and only one back. If you flood the middle, you can't block everyone.
3rd and 9. Moon on a roll right under a lot of pressure, and Warren Moon winds up throwing an incomplete pass knocked down by Jim Scow, number 70.
I don't know if that was knocked down by Scow or just hit Scow. That ball.
He was looking for Scow. Yeah. He had no possible Oiler receiver.
He can tell his grandkids he knocked it down.
We may have a halftime of the ugliest pass ever thrown, and this will get votes.
Almost stuck in Scow's face guard.
Watch this.
Yep.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Well, that's 900 number for ugly pass.
That's a real beauty, Warren. Well, a couple of blown plays by the Oilers. A sack, and then I don't know. What category does that fall in?
Just plain ugly.
Yeah.
32-yard attempt by Zendejas. He's good, but there's a flag down here as well. Eric Thomas came charging in and made contact with Zendejas.
That'll either be roughing the kicker or running into the kicker.
Thomas contending he got just a piece of it?
Well, let's see now, because this could end up with a first down for Houston.
That's what Thomas is saying. I touched the ball. Even though the kick was good, that's what he's contending.
Take a look at it. We can't tell if he touches the ball or not, but he clearly comes in and levels Zendejas. If you do get a first down out of this, do you take points off the board?
It was a 4th and 9. Here's Hantak's
Running
call.
into the kicker. Penalty is declined. Field goal is good.
Okay, that's running into the kicker, which would have been a 5-yard penalty. That would not have given them a first down. Thus, they decline it, take the field goal. If it would have been a personal foul, roughing the kicker, that would have been a first down. Different story.
Decision is academic, and the Cincy lead is 4.
Dry.
Warren Moon and Drew Hill getting together. Hill is done for the night. Moon leading them on a drive which culminated with a field goal. It is 14-10 Cincinnati with 3 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the third quarter at the Astrodome, the newly expanded Astrodome. 60,000 looking on tonight. Then Zendejas to kick off. Ira Hillary is back deep along with Kendall Smith for the Bengals. At the 11-yard line, it's Ira Hillary, who, among other things, is the emergency quarterback for Cincinnati behind Esiason and Wilhelm. Earl Campbell looking as if he is still fit enough to play. So when does the comeback begin?
I don't know. I was watching the Raiders last night. It looked like they could need a fullback. Maybe it's something coming in the end. You know, I don't know.
We said it all this year. We traveled around our 20th anniversary. Earl. One of the most exciting games we have ever put on was right here against Miami. You went 199 yards and 81-yard touchdown run. It was remarkable.
Well, I played with great ball players when I was here in Houston, and thanks to you guys here on Monday night, y'all made it even better than it supposedly have been. So it's been a great career. I enjoyed it, and you guys do a good job.
We didn't add to it at all. It was a remarkable night.
Allen broke up that pass to McGee. So you and Bo are going to be in the same backfield, you figure, next year.
Well, I don't know. Bo knows football. I knows running the football.
You know maintaining your health, too. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Earl, you're still at the University of Texas, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm an assistant to the vice president. I work with all of our student athletes on the academics and trying to help out there.
Now you realize what a tough job that is. Now, do you let them get away with some of the things you got away with?
Well, every now and then they try to seem to pull the same tricks. But you guys here do a better job.
2nd and 10 as Esiason off the play fake throws a sideline pattern, and the catch is made by Eddie Brown.
How about one little
on
line
the near side?
Little turn out the lights for us, Earl.
Turn out the lights.
Oh, yeah.
The party's over.
It's only 14-10.
That's right.
So,
Whose lights?
Soon, I think.
Yeah, we've turned the lights out.
Thanks for coming by, Earl.
Thank you guys very much.
A lot of great memories.
Good to meet you all, too.
Thanks, Earl. But they've lost track of time in this booth before. All right, let's take a look at this play on the sidelines. I think we're going to see some good use of the feet by Eddie Brown. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Up on the toes to keep it in bounds. Eddie Brown.
9-yard pickup, 3rd and 1 Cincinnati from the 35-yard line. And Brooks had trouble getting started, and thus he is stopped short of the first down as the clock has run down to under 3 minutes to play in the period. And the Bengals punting unit comes in as Brooks having trouble getting started, pleading some sort of case here with the officials in terms of maybe the spot where the ball is spotted.
This is Brooks' 4th 100-yard game of the season. Talk about picking up the slack for Ricky Woods, who was injured in that 2nd game.
They're going to be well shy of the first down. They're going to measure anyway. And there it is. Just half yard or so short of the first down, 4th down, and that much. Brooks thought he'd picked it up.
Well,
from here, it looked like a good spot. Here's Sam's reaction.
He doesn't give you a whole lot of color on the sidelines. A couple of adjectives now and then.
A few adverbs. And an exclamation or two.
Not so much about Jerry Glanville tonight. Sam White has changed this game considerably in his short career as the head coach. Left quite a mark on it.
Sam would have fallen off a horse or gotten bitten by some wild animal or something.
Meanwhile, here's Johnson, who's going to try to kick in, and down he goes, and it's Seal who buries him. And another big play by the Houston special teams operation, with Bubba McDowell forcing Johnson to think about having to get out of his way and then get the ball away.
Oh, my special teams, they are killing me.
There are two ways of looking at it. They are helping us considerably too. Again, wide open.
Bubba McDowell just comes right up the middle again. The Bengals showing a severe inability to cover the inside of their line. Johnson being rushed right up the middle. Looked like he could have gotten it away right there, and for some reason double clutched and ended up holding on to the ball. There's Richard Smith, the special teams coach of the Oilers, and right now his guys are just about the only thing the Oilers have going for them.
You know, Jerry Glanville has a hand in this.
Return the field clock to 2 minutes and 28 seconds, please. Please put the game clock.
Tries to kick it again at this point, and then just gets nailed. But again, these are the things you pick up when you look at a team on the films. You go back, and if you really care about it, and Jerry Glanville really cares about his special teams, you look and you find these little spots, these little openings, and what a difference it makes in the football game.
Boy, but it's, you know, you start at the middle and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you block. Again, I don't want to overemphasize this, from the inside out, and for some reason the Bengals are just failing to do it.
1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, and Highsmith picks up 4. So the Bengals have been having special teams problems. In particular, their kickoff return coverage has been terrible this season. And tonight, 2 egregious mistakes as far as the punting unit is concerned. One resulting in a touchdown by Seal, and now this.
Well, here's where you ask a lot of your defensive team. Here's where you say, guys, get us out of the jam. We didn't put you here, but you're there anyway. Come up with a big play. Save our bacon.
2nd and 6 from the 24. Moon sends Givens in motion. And Warren looking to the right side, and off the fingertips of Duncan is Fulcher and Richard Carey. Carey, who was just activated off the developmental squad, number 34, seeing his first action tonight.
And that's really a risky throw by Warren Moon, because the coverage could hardly be better. Carey is there stride for stride. David Fulcher coming over, and he drops Curtis Duncan, but going right into the teeth of the double coverage is Warren Moon. The ball is right where it has to be. But boy, again, I mean, absolutely perfect by Richard Carey. And this time it's Cincinnati that takes the timeout.
On a 3rd and 6, which will be upcoming for Houston. 1:44 to go in the period.
Richard Carey has pulled a muscle and come off the field.
That's the reason for the timeout.
IBM presents You Make the Call. Max Runiger of the Browns has a punt blocked by the Oilers, which is recovered behind the line of scrimmage by Herman Fontenot and advanced for an apparent first down. Now you make the call. Is it a first down for the Browns? As long as the ball is recovered behind the line of scrimmage, it can be advanced by the kicking team, in this case for a first down.
He came off. He called the timeout himself because, as you see, they're working on his right leg, what appears to be a cramp. So we should be able to see Carey again. He made a fine play a moment ago.
3rd and 6. Robert Jackson spells Carey. Bengals nearly jump, but they remain onside. And Moon under pressure, going deep, and much too deep. Intended for Givens, but he was covered well. Jeffries was also in the neighborhood, and so were a couple of Bengal defensive backs, including Fulcher.
You know, we talked on Houston's last drive, crediting them with being patient and working underneath and taking the 6 and 7 yard. Bluebeards are here tonight. And what have we seen now after the turnover? Twice now, Houston has attempted to go to the end zone with the long ball and hasn't gotten there. And now it brings up a 4th down and a field goal. So a complete reversal on the part of the Oilers as they're on their offensive game plan.
Zendejas to kick. He made his only attempt earlier, a 32-yard effort. This is from 42. And this kick is just inside the upright and pulls Houston to within a point. So they settle for 3 after forcing Johnson to eat it on what would have been a punt attempt. Cincinnati now leads by 1 with 1:34 remaining in the third, and we have a moment to show you some highlights from yesterday's game between Denver and Kansas City. Chiefs always play the Broncos tough at Arrowhead Stadium. Steve Pallure throwing here, and the great-looking rookie Steve Atwater recovers this fumble. Atwater taking the ball into Kansas City territory, and John Elway, as he has done so many times in his illustrious career, able to pull one out at the end. Here, the little shovel pass to Steve Sewell, moving the Broncos deep into Kansas City territory. And with Rich Karlis gone, and now with Minnesota, David Treadwell has taken over this year as the Bronco place kicker. He boots it through, and the Broncos win it by a score of 16-13, and we will see Denver next Monday night at RFK Stadium against the Washington Redskins.
Steve Atwater, the #1 draft choice of the Broncos, reminds me a lot of Eric McMillan when he was a rookie last year with the Jets, and his ability to always be around the football, make the big play, the big hit, pick it up and go with it. Some kind of rookie.
Zendejas' kick taken at the 12-yard line. This is Kendall Smith, and he fumbles at the 25-yard line. Houston has it. Scott Kozak.
And the Oiler who made the hit is still down on the ground.
I think it's McDowell. It is Bubba McDowell.
He caused the fumble, and he put his hat right on the football. Bubba McDowell put his head right on the football, forcing Smith to fumble. What an effort by Bubba McDowell. And again, the special teams of the Oilers come up with a big play. Watch from the left of your screen. From the left, it'll be McDowell.
He gets the helmet right on the hip of Kendall Smith.
Actually grazes the football with his helmet, separates Smith from the ball, and the special teams of the Houston Oilers would be hard-pressed to play a better game than they are tonight.
Seal, Meads, and McDowell all playing very key roles.
And McDowell is still down on the field. Look at this at regular speed. That's the way it's supposed to be done. And of course, a very fortunate bounce, as it just takes the one quick hop right to Kozak. Now the good news about McDowell is we saw him right away with his arm kind of making a motion like he was a little dizzy. And here's some great news. Getting up and well, he's back. Some recovery.
He spiraled around here at the top of the Astrodome for a few moments. After a hit like that, you're always happy to see them up.
And that graphic tells you that there aren't a whole lot of rookies that have seen playing time like Bubba McDowell. Started every game for the Oilers. 3rd round draft choice from Miami.
Meanwhile, Cincinnati, the average starting field position for the Bengals in this half, their own 16, and Houston, thanks to their special teams, the average has been the 43, and this one's even better at the 24-yard line. They begin this drive down by a point. 1:24 to go, 3rd quarter. Mike Rozier for a gain of 3 to the 21-yard line.
The fans at the other end of the Astrodome haven't gotten to see a thing this half. They have played this entire game on this side of the 50. As we face the field to our right, these poor folks down here, they've been left out this half, and a record crowd here tonight. at the Astrodome, 60,694.
And they've added about 10,000 seats over the last year and a half and finally completed all of the renovation about 2 weeks ago. Second and 6 from the 20. Here's Rozier trying to cut it back, and Rozier with that second effort takes it inside the 15-yard line, very close to a first down.
And I think this is what Jerry Glanville has been waiting to see from Rozier, who with that long holdout all of training camp came in, hurt his knee, had arthroscopic surgery, and he's been running the football for the past 2 or 3 weeks, but not well, running like he's been running on eggs. And that one he just put a burst on. It looked like the old Rozier, but look at this offensive line fire out.
Again, they are just removing the Bengals from the line of scrimmage. And there's Jim Scow. You see him getting a lick on Rozier, but Rozier able to fight off it. And Frank told you earlier that Scow, a very light defensive end. And there's a good look at what happens to a defensive end who's only 240 pounds. Trying to tackle a back that only weighs about 25 pounds less than he does.
It'll be 3rd and 1 at the 15 when the fourth quarter begins, and back we come to Houston after this from our ABC station. Back at the Astrodome, we start the fourth quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. Cincinnati leads by a point. It is 3rd and 1 for Houston at the Bengal 15-yard line with Gibbons in motion. And on the ground, Rozier through the middle, leans forward and may have it with that lean. He is stopped by Leon White, very close to a first down.
Well, I think we've got a hurt Oiler. Alonzo Highsmith at the end of that play really came back and just went to the ground. Highsmith was the lead blocker on that play, and oh, did he get bent over backwards. Alonzo Highsmith, attempting to make the lead block for Mike Rozier, got caught someone rolling up the back of his legs.
And they bring the chains out while they work on Highsmith to measure for the first down. It looks as if they're a little short of it. They can't measure until they take care of Highsmith, is what it amounts to here.
Look at Alonzo Highsmith. He's to the right side of the screen. This is Highsmith, and look at his legs bent back underneath. That's Reggie Williams, number 57, and Alonzo Highsmith. Boy, that's a tough position. He's going to come into your screen. That's Highsmith. He's making the block on Williams. And he stood straight up, and then the pile rolls into him from behind. And ooh, look how he's crunched from behind.
And that leg trapped underneath, and he couldn't get it out.
Oh, that's severe. That's painful just to look at.
So there's a timeout on the field while they work on Highsmith. 6 seconds into the fourth quarter. We'll be back. First things first, Highsmith with some assistance was able to walk off the field. There he is on the Oiler bench. They measured for the first down. They were that much shy of it. It is now 4th down and inches. Coming into this game tonight, Houston had been 9 for 9 on 4th down conversions this season. They missed earlier on a 4th and goal, and now with an easy field goal attempt for Zendejas, they will eschew that and go for the first down with Tracy Johnson and Mike Rozier. Johnson is the blocking back. Rozier is the eye back.
They're not going to run a play.
Yeah, and Moon just trying to get Cincinnati to jump offside.
Yeah. You've got to kick the field goal here. They're not buying it, Warren.
Nope. Cincinnati have talked this over. They're not going to go for it.
Great discipline by the Bengal front wall. Outstanding discipline.
And it doesn't lengthen out the field goal attempt that much further. And again, Jerry Glanville taking a chance. He has been going on 4th down many times, as Al pointed out. 9 for 9 coming into tonight, so Cincinnati perhaps thinking that he would try to do it. But not when you can take the lead.
So that moves it back to the 19-yard line, meaning that the field goal attempt will now be roughly 36 or 37 yards. He's made 2 tonight from 32 and from 42. It will be a 37-yard attempt for Zendejas.
Not a meaningless 5 yards.
No, no.
The Oilers gave up.
Montgomery to hold, and almost blocked, and the kick is good, and there's a penalty marker down. Let's see. No. Kick is good.
That's a towel on the field.
Yeah, it was.
A towel being used by the holder that he flipped off to the side and gave the appearance of a flag on the field. And boy, was this close to being blocked.
The next thing to it, how do you miss?
Close to running into the kicker again here as well.
Boy, that is very, very close. But the field goal by Zendejas. Good.
Eric Thomas coming close.
And the Oilers have the lead for the first time in the game. 16-14 as Zendejas kicks off. 14-16 left in the fourth period. Kick fielded at the 11 by Jennings. And Jennings takes it out to the 25. And let's go back and take a look at the field goal.
Well, the Oilers have been living a good life tonight on their special teams. I want you to watch Johnny Meads right here. This is Eric Thomas coming around the corner. Watch Meads actually reach out and hook Eric Thomas. Look at the right hand, and he hooks him so good that it actually spins Thomas all the way around, and he ends up going into Zendejas.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Thomas is saying, yeah, where was that flag?
Yeah, and there should have been a flag. That's a hold all the way by Johnny Meads, and they get away with it. You get the impression that without that, Thomas would have blocked that field goal.
First down from the 25-yard line, and Brooks for 2 very tough yards. Out to the 27, Ray Childress and Jeff Donaldson converge on the tackle. Bubba McDowell is back in the game. We saw him go out earlier with what they told us was a mild concussion, but he is back in at strong safety. There he is, the rookie, number 25 out of Miami.
What a rookie he's been. He started all the way. 3rd-round draft pick. Has 3 interceptions and has been superb on the special teams.
2nd and 8 with Brown and McGee both split to the right. Brooks goes in motion. And Esiason throws and finds Rodney Holman, who breaks 2 tackles at the 50-yard line. And Rodney Holman, who's had a silent night, has a noisy touchdown to give Cincinnati the lead again. 73 yards.
Good, Al. That was terrific. A little early in the season, but we were just talking about how Rodney Holman has been so quiet tonight. The Pro Bowl tight end from a year ago, totally out of it, and splits 2 defenders and just takes it in.
In the National Football League, probably the most underutilized player on the field is the tight end. And when you have one who's an athlete like Rodney Holman, why not go to him more often? Of course, he's one of the few players in the league that plays tight end that really gets to participate with his team. He's the leading receiver of the Bengals, and that shows you why. Really bad, an athlete with great speed.
Really bad tackling there on the part of Donaldson and McDowell. Both of them had a shot. They just bounced off him.
Longest reception of his career. He's their leading receiver, but it's his first catch of the night, and it comes 1 minute and 49 seconds into the 4th quarter.
And remember how we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast how the Oilers have to fight giving up the long touchdown pass. They've given up a half a dozen of 60 yards or more. Well, now you can make that 7.
The thing that has befuddled Esiason all night long has been the zone defense of the Oilers. There's a great picture of that zone dropping back, and the best place to hit it is with the tight end, and they finally get around to it, and you can see McDowell and Donaldson both had a good shot at Holman, and neither one, well, they just both bounced off. Bad tackling.
Well, McDowell, I'm sure, is still nursing a headache. You can see why maybe he doesn't want to put the hat right in there, but Donaldson, strictly a case of just not wrapping up. He didn't use his arms at all, and I don't know if he thought that was Eddie Brown or Tim McGee that might go flying.
Was he going to hate the shoulder pad? Is he going to hate to go to the movies with Jerry Glanville on Wednesday?
That is not a 180-pound wide receiver that is going to go flying when you put the shoulder into him. That's a 240-pound tight end that you're going to bounce off. So the Bengals, who have been rather lethargic on offense for some time, explode for the big play, and it has really been 2 big plays. Other than that, the Cincinnati offense tonight has not done much of anything.
Brooks, a 58-yard run, now the 73-yard reception by Holman. Esiason limited to 42 yards in the air in the first half. Bengals are back on top by 5. And of course, the big difference between these two teams, the utilization of tight ends. The Bengal tight ends have caught 43 passes this season. The Oiler tight ends, 3.
And Jamie Williams, their tight end last year, only caught 6 the entire season.
And lost as a Plan B free agent to San Francisco. Leonard Harris takes the kick and downs it in the end zone. And so the Oilers begin this drive from the 20-yard line. Well, what about the vote? You saw 3 great performances at the half. Most folks still like Bo Jackson at 44%, Jim McMahon at 37 is second, and Dan Marino at 19%.
His house went quiet, the house of pain, and really is tough on a ball club that has scrapped and clawed, fought their way back into the game, then they had taken the lead, and all of a sudden, in one play, they lose it again.
Meanwhile, Highsmith is back in the game. He'd come out with what they said was a strained back on the last series, but he is in the game and in the backfield as they begin from the 20-yard line. And Moon throws, and the catch is made on the far side by Leonard Harris, and Harris spins his way into Bengal territory.
And there goes a flag for a late hit, and justifiably so. I think Carey came in late and puts the flag, puts the hit. That's just inexcusable. Leonard Harris really making something happen.
Foul, unnecessary rough on the defense. Number 34, 15 yards, first down.
Boy, and Richard Carey adds to the Bengal problems, but boy, give Leonard Harris a lot of credit.
Keep in mind, he's in there because Drew Hill is on the sidelines, but he looks like Drew Hill. Concentrates, keeps his eyes on the ball, stays inbounds, spins back inside, gets about 6 or 8 more out of it. And here comes Richard Carey, and the flags fly.
And that's a spear. That's the helmet right in the midsection. It's not only a late hit, but it's a spear as well. And Carey could see all the way down.
Crowd booing when they saw the replay, so he got booed once live and twice on tape. And the catch is made over the middle at the 24-yard line by Ernest Gibbons. Bussey and Phillips on the coverage with 12.5 minutes to go in the 4th period.
Out on the line here tonight, we've talked about it over and over. The team that comes out of here with the win tonight stays within 1 of the Cleveland Browns. Whoever loses is going to drop back by 2. And we're getting late in the season.
2nd and 4. Houston at the 23-yard line. Moon with time, throws, touchdown Leonard Harris. Harris had caught 1 pass all season until tonight.
He only caught 10 all of last year.
23-yard.
Good-looking pattern by Harris coming across at the top of your screen. Richard Carey's not going to get penalized this time. He's going to jump out of the way. Figured that enough damage had already been done on this drive, and Zendejas is there. And I'm reminded of what Jerry Glanville said last night. He figures this game is going to come down to the team who has the ball last will win it. And he said that's the way we like to play.
First touchdown of Leonard Harris's career. 4th season in the league.
What a pretty pass from Warren Moon, but Harris just wide open. And Richard Carey says, I'll just gracefully bow out.
Great protection for Warren Moon on that. He had a lot of time. He took a lot of time until Harris could uncover, but he stood in there just like the stoic he is until Harris did uncover. Patient, and then fired it in there. The blue pom-poms moving in unison.
Leonard Harris, he'd be number 5 on the depth chart as far as wide receivers are concerned, and really the only reason he's even in the game right now is because the man seated next to him, Drew Hill, is out of the game. And you've got Hill and Gibbons and Jeffries and Duncan, who are the first 4, and then comes Harris. 3 lead changes in less than 4 minutes. And it's 23-21 Houston. $11:49 to go. Zendejas to kick. Harry and Jennings are back to receive. Stanford Jennings from the 1 to the 15.
Every coach in this league, or any league, will tell you special teams will set the pace. They'll set the tone for a ball game, and you can't ask a unit to do any more than the Oilers' special teams have done tonight for their team.
Kenny Johnson came down to make that last tackle.
An emotional yo-yo here tonight at the Astrodome.
There is Eugene Seal,
all 250 of him.
the human bowling ball, covering a kick, who trips, stumbles, falls down, and takes Eric Caddis with him. What an athlete.
From the 15-yard line. Esiason off the fake, goes deep, and the catch is made at the 46-yard line by Tim McGee. Great catch. And this once defensive struggle has turned into a wild shootout.
How about that fake? How about the ball handling by Boomer Esiason? Sucks the entire Oiler line and linebackers and safeties. Look at the linebackers and the safeties fly up in there. Bubba McDowell comes in clear out of the picture, and he's late trying to react back. And Timmy McGee gets down low, cradles the ball, and Al, you're right. The defensive ball game is gone.
Beaten badly again, Patrick Allen.
From the 45-yard line, Brooks swinging to the outside. Nothing doing. Stopped by Bubba McDowell, who comes up to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10. Bengals with their sugar huddle, just 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Crowd chance defense. Bengals send McGee left. Brown to the right. Jennings and Brooks in the backfield behind Esiason. 2nd and 10. Esiason fires in the seam, and open is Rodney Holman for a first down at the 25-yard line. Stopped by Donaldson.
Rodney Holman, quiet for so long, has all of a sudden become a major factor again. Holman in the zone defense of the Oilers, finds the little gap, and reading it with him, Boomer Esiason, he fires it for the first down.
And that's where a veteran ball player can really help you out, because reading the zones, finding the seams, making that adjustment where to sit for the ball is really something that befuddles a lot of rookies in this league. Rodney Holman, the veteran tight end, knows exactly where to go, and Boomer knows where he's going to be.
From the 25, they set Caddis up in the backfield, a tight end. They have Riggs in motion, and they give the ball to Jennings. And Robert Lyles is there to break it up.
As you pointed it out, Al, we were in very tight on it. That one needs to go back to the drawing board.
Well, Caddis was attempting to block Lyles, but Lyle crossed in front of him, got inside, and made the hit on the ball carrier. The play appeared to be designed okay, just wasn't executed very well.
2nd and 9, 8:45 remaining in the 4th quarter. Oilers ahead 23-21. Second and 9. Again, Canis lined up in the backfield. McGee in motion. Fake to Jennings. Esiason throwing for the end zone and knocked down in the end zone. Intended for a Holman and knocked down by Richard Johnson, who almost had a pickoff. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Boomer being very careful with that. He knew that Holman was covered very well. He got in trouble right here. There comes Holman. He's kind of lazing off the line of scrimmage. Was going to fake a block, but he had no man over him. There was play action in the backfield. He's picked up, covered well. Boomer puts it just off the fingertips of the defensive back, Johnson, but he was very close.
3rd and 9. 3 receivers sent to the right. And Esiason hands it to Brooks as he keeps it on the ground. Brooks takes it to about the 20. That's going to set up roughly a 37-yard field goal attempt for Jim Breach, who has made 8 of 9. Remember, he was cut after a long and distinguished career with the Bengals, lost his job to Jim Gallery, remained in Cincinnati, waited for the phone to ring. It didn't. He was going to go anywhere had he been offered a tryout, but he wasn't. Then Gallery was 2 for 6 in field goal attempts this year. Back came Breach in week 5. His longest this season is 30 yards, and this one is 38. Lee Johnson to hold. And Breach's kick is good. And Cincinnati has the lead again with 7:33 remaining in the 4th quarter.
One of those nights, you can tell. He who has it last just might win it.
Looks that way.
Dodge.
Wild game. 4 lead changes in the last 7 minutes, and the Bengals lead by a point.
And the Overboys have just broken out the champagne.
Yes, they did. 44 was the number tonight. We've already had 47 put up with a lot of time left. 7:33.
They're taking it out of the ice at that time.
That's right. Lee Johnson will be kicking off for Cincinnati. The Oilers have scored on their last 4 possessions. 3 field goals. And then a touchdown by Harris on the pass from Warren Moon. Good deep kickoff by Johnson, taken 2 yards in the end zone by Harris, and he'll down it there. They'll take it at the 20. And we can tell you that Saturday here on ABC Sports, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and more of golf's great players meet to raise more than $1 million for charity as we begin weekend coverage of the RMCC Invitational hosted by Greg Norman. And there are the times at the bottom of that graphic that you'll see golf on Saturday, and then college football of Bruins and the Trojans in LA, or Indiana against Illinois. For those of you in the Midwest, it begins at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific Saturday. Houston.
My favorite angle. My favorite angle.
From the rear.
Now you can see what goes on from here. It's the player's favorite angle.
Moon. Off the fingertips of Gifford. 2nd down.
Magical on the part of Moon just to avoid being sacked. He has not been sacked all night long, but given so many opportunities. There he is. A good look at a man who's having a great year. Went to Hamilton High School in Los Angeles. Who else went there?
The Yankees.
Working here to my left. Al Michaels, of course. Hamilton High, they produce a lot of great athletes.
Major athletes. Sidney Wicks went there.
From there, Washington went up to play in the Canadian Football League and had great years up there. 5 Grey Cups for Edmonton.
2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. And Moon almost gets sacked for the first time and nearly has it picked off because the pressure was on. and the throw was short. Leo Barker came blitzing in and forced the early release, and David Fulcher nearly had the interception.
And it was 6 points if he could have got to it.
So it'll be 3rd and 10. Another look here at the pressure from Barker.
On the outside, just again, nobody to pick him up. The blitz was on, not enough Oilers to collect all of them. Larry Landon sporting the belt buckle that was given to him by owner Bud Adams. Keith Jackson would like that buckle.
Oh yeah. 3rd and 10. Moon throwing, and on the far side it's Harris. Leonard Harris.
Oh, did Reggie Williams unload on Warren Moon? Oh,
Actually, I think it's Barney.
Yeah,
It's Barney Bussey, number 27.
Bussey coming in from the linebacking position. Bussey, he hit Moon right in the small of the back.
That's the situation where the quarterback has no idea it's coming. A quarter of a second before that, and it ends up being an errant toss, maybe an interception. As it is, what you have is a perfect pass and a quarterback that pays the price. Unaccounted for, a safety blitz. There's nobody to block Bussey, and he's got a free shot on the quarterback.
So a big 3rd down conversion. 7-12 remaining in the 4th quarter, and Warren Moon on 1st and 10 gets sacked. So no sooner do you bring it up, and there's your sack, and it's Eric Thomas on the corner blitz.
Well, it's exactly the same blitz that they ran last time. Instead of Bussey coming, this time it's Thomas. And again, the Oilers don't compensate for the backside. Warren Moon is not going to make it to the end of this ball game if the Bengals continue to run that blitz and the Oilers continue to not block it.
Bengals with the 4 down linemen, their nickel package, and they bring the 4 down linemen, and they have shot one of their 5 defensive backs on the last 2 plays, and they haven't picked him up yet.
2nd and 17 from the 31-yard line. Ernest Givens in motion. And Moon going deep. Incomplete. Intended for Curtis Duncan, and Richard Carey was back there with him. And that's going to set up a 3rd and 17.
Good coverage out of that nickel defense once again on the part of the Bengals.
Duncan's not even looking at the ball on that last play. Guess he made a determination that it was not catchable. He's not even turned around looking at the ball. Meanwhile, look at Ernest Givens at the top of your screen, floating down the upper sideline all by himself.
Come on,
Double coverage. And wide open was Ernest Givens.
3rd and 17.
Again.
A lot of pressure again, and sack. Throws the ball away, but grasp and control at the 15-yard line. And again, it's Eric Thomas.
It's exactly the same blitz 3 times in a row. Twice by Thomas, once by Bussey. And what do you have? You've got Warren Moon getting killed. I mean, it's exactly the same blitz. Frank talked about the 4 down linemen. Here they are right here, the 4 linemen. But here's the blitzer. And time after time he comes, and time after time Warren Moon is either being sacked or dropped. Now that is really where your offensive team has gone to sleep, that you can allow that to happen on 3 consecutive downs.
Eric Thomas had 1 sack in his career until this series, when he picks up a pair. It's 4th and 33, and Montgomery's punt is barely long enough to get a 1st down. And rolls dead at the 40-yard line. And so Cincinnati will take over there. They'll try to take some time off the clock with 6:11 to play in the 4th quarter. And the Bengals on top 24-23.
That's about as bad a series as a team could run in a ballgame trailing by a point. This late in the 4th quarter, you need to make something happen. You need to move down the field, and to leave your quarterback so unprotected, that's almost inexcusable.
What a difference a half makes.
1 yard rushing in the 2nd half.
First half was Brooks, and this half is Esiason and his receivers. As Brooks to the outside goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Something he wanted to avoid. That stops the clock with 6:06 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Well, now's where the NFL's best team at rushing the football would really like to show their stuff. This is where they would like to control the ball, eat up some time, move into Houston territory, either kick a field goal, a little insurance, maybe a touchdown, needless to say, would be ideal, but a couple first downs would be great.
2nd and 8, so they give it to Brooks, and there is Brooks finding whatever hole exists. There's a flag down. He takes it out to the 47-yard line. Lyles makes the tackle, and it's going to be coming back because of a holding call against Cincinnati.
There's the double whammy. Costs you the run, costs you yardage, and stops the clock. That is not the trifecta.
Triple whammy.
Offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
And it puts you in a position where you have to throw the ball. Eric Haddis, the tight end, was holding on it, where you're going to have to put it up in the air and take the risk of getting it picked off.
So it'll be 2nd and 18 from the 32-yard line. Most of those penalties occurring in the first half. And on 2nd and 18, it's Esiason dumping one off over the middle, and it's Stanford Jennings who gets it out to the 47-yard line. So a nice gain. It's going to be 3rd and a long 3. Donaldson and Lyles in on the tackle.
And nice and safe, too. But Boomer looking deep downfield, but taking Jennings all the way. And Jennings gets him back into 3rd down and 3. Still the pass situation, but something you do not have to put up for a high risk.
3rd and 3 at the 47. They have to get the ball just into Houston territory. To about the 49 and a half. You can see the marker on the far side. Hillary and Brown come wide to the right. McGee to the left with Smith, and underneath the pass is broken up by Brown, who's looking around for a flag and doesn't get one. Broken up by Brown.
There wasn't a Bengal receiver anywhere on the field that had more than a 6-inch gap between a Houston Oiler and himself. That was fabulous coverage by the Oilers, and I think Sam Weiss is probably saying it's a little too fabulous. Sam's complaining that it should have been interference. Might have been right.
How about a lynching?
Boy, Brown comes in with the left hand, wraps it right around the helmet. From behind, you can't draw too many conclusions.
So different when you see a slow motion.
Johnson's kick goes into the end zone, and Houston will take over at the 20-yard line with 4 minutes and 47 seconds remaining.
If I'm Sam Weiss and I see that play, I'm yelling and screaming on the sidelines as well. And we showed you Sam Weiss a little earlier in the ballgame being rather stoic on the sidelines. Well, enough of that. This is fourth quarter in a one-point ballgame.
The old quarterback has seen a lot of it in his time. He knows what pass interference is all about.
Well, that's the type of coverage when it's that close. But if it's your guy, you praise him in the meeting the next day. When it's the opponent, he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Houston at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. Blitz is on. Moon releases. Jeffries makes the catch, and Jeffries stringing loose and turns it into a lot of extra yardage and takes one of the coaches with him as well. David Fulcher runs him out of bounds.
Jeffries pulling away from Ricky Dixon, who's done a pretty good job on him tonight. But again, the Bengals come right back 1st and 10. They bring the blitz, and that left a single coverage. Dixon on Jeffries, and Jeffries this time reads it well with Moon. He goes down about 6 or 7 yards and hooks up. Now there is Dixon right on him.
Looks like he put his hand in a face mask, Frank. Right there. I mean, that should be a penalty on Jeffries. You know, an offensive player can't put a hand to the face mask.
And the coach he takes out is Dick LeBeau, who knows what that feels like because he was a great cornerback.
Well, I don't know if
he's playing days.
LeBeau looked like he took him out.
Right. Meanwhile, the flag goes down after Harris can't hold it. And that may be insult to injury as LeBeau, the defensive coordinator, watches a flag go down.
I wouldn't feel so sorry for Dick LeBeau. He kind of followed that one through. And
Holding on the defense, number 22. Holding on the offense, number 77. Finleys are offset. First down. Go back.
The Bengals dodge a bullet.
Eric Thomas on one side and Bruce Davis on the other. Two separate calls here.
Thomas had glommed on to Leonard Harris.
Glommed? It's the verb of the 90s.
we're always struggling for new words.
Yep.
Glommed onto it.
Yeah, we just
Exactly what he
resurrect
did.
one of the 50s.
That's right.
More things change, right?
The more they remain.
First and 10 from the 40-yard line. Moon, and it's dropped at the 48-yard line by Haywood Jeffries.
Jeffries looks at Harris and says, "What you doing here? This is my area." A little confusion there between Harris and Haywood Jeffries, both right in the same area.
Let's go back and take a look here at Haywood Jeffries and Dick LeBeau. Now there, granted, Jeffries got the initial blow. It's a pretty good follow-through here by Dick LeBeau. I don't.
Two-point takedown.
Yeah, I think that's a little frustration coming out there.
14 years with the Lions, 62 interceptions, a few Pro Bowls. He wants to get in this thing.
He clommed onto Jeffries and threw him to the ground.
Everyone's coming.
Second and 10, and Moon throws, and a juggling catch is made by Gibbons, and he dances his way for a first down.
Nice.
Great read between Moon and Gibbons. And very fortunate for Moon.
Yeah, but what an effort by Gibbons to get the first down. I mean, staying in bounds, dancing around Lewis Phillips. Watch this move he puts on Phillips. First of all, he's got to get control of the ball, but watch this right here. Whoa! Lewis Phillips.
Eric Metcalf there.
Oh, that is some effort that time by Ernest Gibbons, giving the Oilers a first down.
Oilers with Drew Hill on the bench. They need that extra effort from Gibbons. They got a great performance from Leonard Harris, who filled in for Drew Hill.
From the 47-yard line, Moon trying to hit Gibbons, crossing over the middle.
Ooh, he was open.
Clock stopping with 4:21 to play in the fourth quarter. And of course, anytime you get into a game like this, oftentimes it comes down to those guys, the place kickers. And Dejas, as you can see, the best in the history of this league from 50 plus. That's an incredible percentage, 9 out of 13.
His best is what, about 52 yards, but he's done that over and over, including one time this year.
Second and 10.
There's an audible by Moon.
Pressure again. He escapes. He throws, going against the grain, and it's incomplete. Jeffries wrapped up by Ricky Dixon.
Oh, and you can understand why Dixon, it was Sam White who wanted Dixon on Haywood Jeffries, who's rapidly emerging into a great receiver. That was perfect timing on the part of Ricky Dixon, last year's #1 draft pick. He has been assigned to Haywood Jeffries all night long. Times this out just perfect. Any earlier, you draw the flag. Any later, the completion.
3rd and 10 at the 47-yard line. 4:15 to play. In a big play. 3rd and 10, and Moon, with a lot of open space, slides for a first down to the 35-yard line. And they're going to give him a very poor spot, but I think it's still enough for a first down. They're going to put it back at the 37-yard line. and probably make it close enough to bring the chains in.
Well, the quarterback is protected on that hook slide. So that the minute he goes into that hook slide, that's where the ball is spotted. They're not going to give him another 3 yards on the slide. No, you don't get the slide. The ball's spotted where you sit down. You can't have both. You can't have the protection and the yardage.
Has it anyway.
Well, that's a pretty good judgment by Warren Moon as to where the flag was.
He is having a great year if he can call it this closely. He's looking right over there. Looking right at the yard marker. The flag down on the turf there. That's first down, and he took a long look at it and put the ball down right on it.
Did all his trigonometry homework at Hamilton.
That's a good look at Warren Moon looking right over at the flag.
This year has been more addition for him.
Yeah, right. From the 37-yard line, 1st and 10, 3:40 to go, 4th quarter. And through the middle, Highsmith dragged down by Fulcher and Barker at the 32-yard line. And they are within field goal range.
Absolutely.
(24-23), Cincinnati in a wild one. 4 lead changes over a 7-minute stretch here in the second half.
I guess you go along with Glanville's theory. The team that has the last is going to win. Well, you think that he might want to work on that clock and take it down as far as he can. But I'm quite certain he'd also like to have a little more yardage out of it.
What are we at 49 right now?
Right. From the 32-yard line, it would be a 49-yard attempt. Second down and 5. And Givens makes the catch, and Givens is stopped at the 28-yard line, so he is a yard short of the first down. The tackle is made by Lewis Billups.
And the blitz came from the backside again that time, Eric Thomas. Only this time the Oilers beat it by having the quick release. The short pattern, the little roll by Moon, and he gets rid of the ball in a hurry.
Big play here now for the Oilers. Well within field goal range, but if they can get this first down, they can work seriously on that clock.
And they'll have to run a play. The play clock dictates that they have to run one before the 2-minute warning.
3rd and 1. Here's the play clock, down to 7. And a first down for Highsmith. He takes it to the 25-yard line, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning.
That's
Oilers
all
have all of their
possibilities.
timeouts remaining.
What a football game.
Terrific.
The ebb and the flow.
The shifting tides.
Only thing you got to wonder about now is Jerry Glanville snake bit.
He leads by a point. Houston has all of its timeouts remaining. Cincinnati has 2. It is 1st and 10 for the Oilers at the 25, well within that man's range. Zendejas tonight has made 3 of 3 from 32, 42, and 37.
Bengals thinking strip it. The Oilers, of course, in the huddle saying let's hold on to it.
Let's hold on to it. Let's use that clock is what they're thinking. And here's Highsmith, and he picks up 3. And now the Bengals have to think about conserving the clock, and they do. They are going to take a timeout here and not take the chance on letting the Oilers run it all the way down and kick a field goal at the end.
Oh, they really don't have a choice. You've got to stop the clock. You have to operate on the premise that he's going to make the field goal. So what you have to do is at least conserve whatever time on the clock that you can to use it in an attempt to take the lead yourself.
And of course, what you really have to do is make sure they don't get a first down. And you're out of timeouts, and then you really
are just at the mercy of Zendejas. I guess it's only fitting, guys, that tonight it looks like it's going to come down to the Houston special teams being the team on the field that's going to be in a position to win it, because they have been nothing short of sensational tonight. Blocked punts, touchdowns off blocked punts, great field position, an exemplary night.
2nd and 7, and again very conservatively it's Highsmith. He gets to the 20. It's going to be 3rd and 5, and the Bengals now spend their final timeout. Their last one. Sloan getting up is Billups. So that's it. Cincinnati out of timeouts. We have 1:47. It'll be 3rd down and a short 5 from the 20-yard line. And remember, on a prospective field goal attempt, how close Eric Thomas has come on Zendejas' last 2 attempts. Nearly blocking it on each occasion. There it is, the particulars, and what the Bengals must do right now is stop Houston short of the 1st down. If Houston picks up a 1st down, they can take it right down to the last couple of seconds. 3rd and a short 5 from the 20. Highsmith. And Highsmith may have the 1st down. Very close. We said a short 5, and that's exactly what he got. Give or take an inch.
This is the mark, and the Oilers say they've got it, and it appears that they do.
Well, there was just a fine example of the Oiler offensive line just eradicating the front wall of the Bengals.
Again, Dan, we've talked all night how small that front wall of the Bengals is. And late in the game, that starts to tell even more.
Just does have it. And what that means is that Cincinnati does not figure to get the ball back. Houston can run it right down to the last couple of seconds and bring in Zendejas.
Well, I don't know if I'm Houston that I don't keep slamming it up in there. I don't know that I don't keep banging Highsmith up inside. Why trust the kicker if you can run it into the end zone and get a touchdown?
Alonzo Highsmith knows what's expected of him, and that is to squeeze that ball.
And so do the Bengals. They know what's coming, and we've got a flag down. And did the play clock on that? No, procedure. Illegal procedure call against Houston.
Ball start, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
1:17 remaining.
I think that might have been a situation where the snap was a little slow.
It looked like the entire line moved together.
I think George Yarno, the center, may have been a little late in bringing up the ball. The whole offensive line takes off, and he's about a half a count late delivering the ball to Warren Moon.
Usually the other way around, isn't it?
It really is.
Center, he's in control of his own destiny. He just snapped a little early, and he looked so good coming off that line.
And you know what? The penalty's not even on him.
That's right, on everybody else.
That's right.
1st and 15. And Pinkett takes it to the 12. Now you're looking at a 29-yard attempt. Kevin Walker makes the tackle, and they can run one more play and then bring Zendejas in.
See how Pinkett had both arms smothering that ball.
Nice block by Bruce Matthews up inside, too.
So Moon and the Oilers will run one more, and they can take their timeout with, let's say, 3 seconds left on the clock, and it will come down to that man, number 7.
Two teams will meet again in Cincinnati the next to the last game, and then we'll see Cincinnati against Minnesota Christmas night.
Say one thing about Cincinnati tonight. They didn't put up with any of the House of Pain stuff.
Nope. Highsmith, he takes it to the 10, so you're looking at a 27 or a 28-yard field goal attempt. Oilers letting the clock run down, and there'll be one play left.
These are two teams that have had a lot to say about each other, but the way they went at it tonight, there's no way they leave this ballpark without a deep respect for one another. Two good football teams.
Yeah, what a show they put on tonight. What if anyone has ever waited too long? Speaking of Big Snake Pit.
That got the crowd a little anxious. You could hear the crescendo building. Well, at least we don't have to worry about Cincinnati calling a timeout just to let Zendejas think about it. This has been a long day's journey into night. Or if you're on the East Coast, it's a journey into the morning.
The lonely life of the kicker. You're totally expected to make this, as well you should be, for the price you're being paid. Boy, if you miss it, it's a long walk back to that bench.
And how many times have we seen one of these chip shots missed?
Or blocked, of course. We now recall a short while ago. But for a grasp by Johnny Meads, it would have been a blocked field goal by Eric Thomas.
Well, the Oilers have put together this drive over the last 4:47. Started at their own 20-yard line. Montgomery holds 38 yards, or a 28-yard attempt from the 18-yard line, and Zendejas shoots it straight through the upright.
Agony in the ecstasy.
Remember how we showed you earlier, Johnny Meads grabbing Eric Thomas and keeping him from blocking a field goal? I think he does it again.
Eric Thomas, if he didn't, should have gone to an official before this play and said, watch them, they're grabbing me.
Watch Meads in his right hand.
You can't do that.
He gets it out there and hooks him. And Frank, I think your point's well made. Thomas might have been better served by complaining. Too late now. That is not subject to replay. The special teams of the Houston Oilers won this game tonight for their club.
28-yard field goal, and boy, did they put it together when they needed it. Taking over at their own 20 with 4:47 left on the clock. Moon guiding them down the field. They picked up a huge first down to make sure the Bengals didn't get the ball back, and here's Glanville's reaction as Zendejas puts Houston a game behind Cleveland.
Is he hugging Art Howe or Floyd Reese?
Good question. And Glanville, as we mentioned before, said whoever has it last, and he was very prescient. And Sam White watches his team go to 5-5, 2 games back, and back they go to Cincinnati to take on the Lions on Sunday. The Oilers stay home and meet Bo Jackson and the Raiders.
I think Sam Weiss is finding out how difficult it is to repeat. The former AFC champions at 500.
AFC Central right up to the moment.
Bo Jackson has a big night. We remember it well. It was a great Monday night. Another one tonight.
26